I think I got a.
I haven't grown up yet. Mine doesn't come in.
Oh, it is so good to see you beautiful bastards right now. It is the superb Owl Roundtable. This is put on by our friends at Kros Strain Brewing. We're out here at La Vista. We're going to be here until 6 o'clock. This is something that we've done, guys, over 10 years ago is when we started. If we all remember this, at the Ice House. And, boy, it evolved, and then it got small again, and then I got unemployed. So
now it's back.
Welcome to the club.
Yes, now it's back.
So we've been unemployed before too.
We've all been fired.
Well, I got so much time on my hands too, you know, and so that's kind of what's going on. But I thought, you know, what better time to get you fine gentlemen together to talk about another big Super Bowl coming up here this Sunday as the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles. But more than anything, last time we were all in the same room. I'm happy to say that not one, not two, but three Hall of Famers with your respective schools as well. Think about that.
Good job, guys.
We're Hall of Famers.
Omaha South as well, too.
Yeah.
I mean, South Omaha, we've got, and a lot has changed, too. Zach is now a successful singer. And last time
artists. We call them artists.
And we got what do we value, or how we're putting successful? Am I having fun? Yes.
I like it on Spotify. It's pretty darn good. So yes. Everything good with you guys? What's new?
Who's going first?
I'll take it, man. Not much. Just raising boys. Trying to shoot ducks. Ain't many around, and it's closed now.
And you have bad aim.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I'm like, it's like me playing football. Available. I'm there to go hunt with guys. Oh man, life's good. Wife's good. Kids are great. My oldest sophomore now. Just all that kind of jazz, man.
Whom I saw Sunday at church.
That's what he said. He's like, man, knew you when he said he was handsome.
There's lineman and skill position.
He goes, handsome guy with a beard. I was like, that's Zach. Yeah. That's funny. But that's it, man.
Zach, obviously, a lot's going on with you.
Going on, man. Doing the same stuff. Chasing. I'm a middle school basketball coach. About 90% of my time now, and then the other 10%, I go down into my studio and try and write songs.
What's the studio setup like?
We put a studio in the basement.
Yeah,
I love it.
Okay.
If I could go back, though, I would move it above the garage.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no windows. It is like, and it's black walls, black ceiling, super vibey, and I love going down there. But I need some, especially in these months, I need a little bit of light in my life. Yeah. No, we're good, man. We run around with the kids, trying to do the music thing, writing songs, having fun doing that.
When you're recording and everything, are you just in seclusion? Like you're just Okay.
There's certain like getting the zone and you're just dived in. You can lock in a song for, I don't know, 2 hours, get it done. And then there's days where most of the time you go down there, and you'll piss around for 30 minutes, and you'll be like, I don't even know if this is good or not. And then you
doing your own beats or anything too?
No, like
that's a whole nother scene, right?
Oh, yeah, that's one other thing. I love doing that. That's a whole nother skill set that I'm not great at. I can, like, I'll make my own demos and do that, and then I'll send it off to a couple of producers that I know, and then they'll kind of take that idea, go from there, and then they'll do the final production. But
the music scene's crazy. Like, you could write a song, right, that someone sends you a track, and like, you didn't even envision that song was going to be with that track, right? Like,
it's like
it's changed so much. I saw this thing on, I don't think it was on Netflix or something, about like Kane Brown, how he was like one of the first artists to like not ever go through a label. He did everything through social media, and he just blew up. You know, because it's like back in the day, you had to go get your stuff written and get pressed and put out there, put on the radio, and he did it on social media, and he showed that it's possible to do that.
And so that's where labels are finding people at. Like TikTok is the new A&R, opposed to like guys used to go out go to a show, see if somebody's worth the damn or whatever. Now they're just through TikTok, strolling through like, can we find this guy? Who's got the numbers? Who's trending? Boom, record deal.
That's how Shabuzi got big.
And listen, bro, I'm not a TikTok guy. I just don't like. I'm so bad at it. They're like, hey, I've talked to a number of people in Nashville. They're like, hey, you got to get your TikTok to. I'm like, bro, I'm a grown dude.
I do all my football stuff, and TikTok's the one I don't do.
Right.
Because it's just like I feel dirty.
I feel so dumb doing it.
Almost 50 years old.
I don't think it's like a child enticement site or anything. I think you're okay.
I feel so stupid doing it though. Like I'll sit down and like I'm lip
totally
singing this song of mine, and it's just like this is not cool at all. But that's what they do, and it's a necessary thing. Everybody that I've spoke with in Nashville that's in the music industry, hey, you got to get your TikTok going, got to get this going. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Maybe there'll be a day where I just buckle up and me and Dave get a camera and we can go.
One thing that hangs me up about TikTok is the old communist Chinese party, but
That's a different story.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We got all our info.
We'll do that for the post Superb Owl. That'll be the reaction show.
But it is like the TikTok thing is like how you manage the clip. Like it's a thing, right? Like you have a certain amount of time. It's like it's not just as easy as.
Oh no, there's strategies too.
What I do for both my businesses, and it changes all the time.
Yeah.
That's the deal. It's like, hey, now you're supposed to do X amount of this long reel, and then it's like next thing you know, it's like, no, we got to do it like this. So it's hard to keep up with.
Your career right now is perfect, though, man. With the kids, the sports, you're coaching with them. Obviously, I love the success you're having. And obviously, wanting to do more, being your friend, but like with it's like you're doing your thing, man.
How did that start? How did the music? Because I know you always had a guitar in your hand, even in college, right? And then I remember the piece that ESPN did on you after you had the injury, and you were playing piano, and you were doing it very, very well. So you've always been musically inclined. But at what point do you say, hey, you know what? I can maybe make a living out of this?
God, I don't even know if I'm at that point yet. When I started to enjoy writing songs and creating my own music was right when I got hurt. I needed somewhere to go. So that was my escape. I had got a guitar in college. A friend of mine bought me one just because he knew I was interested in it. I played the saxophone all the way through high school. Played the piano when I was little. So like
small town, dude.
Carrying a saxophone.
I loved music, and it was just one of those things that I never even dove into songwriting or doing any of that until I was hurt. I remember I was sitting after I got out of the hospital. I had a hospital bed at home just because I couldn't move anywhere. And I was just laying there. And I was like, I'm going to start writing some stories and stuff just to kind of disappear from where I was at. And I fell in love with that process of doing it.
That's awesome. I want to get back to that now. Chris,
what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, you're what? You're an
the old man.
You are the old man.
You've just been mowing your yard.
So my kids are both adults now.
Yeah.
Right. So my daughter's down at UMKC.
By the way, congratulations.
My son's a diesel mechanic. So once they got done with all that, I went back into football, So my Bober Academy that I'm showing here, I train offensive linemen. I have 3 classes going right now with high school, middle school, and guys that are going to college. And then I coach football at Creighton Prep. And I love it, man. I love coaching high school football. It is one of those things that, I've actually been offered and talked about, hey, why don't you come to college and coach there? No, man. High school football where it's at. It's just the right amount of like the kids. You are dealing with some of that transfer kind of stuff. We have that here in the Omaha area.
Oh yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's just about football, and it's a blast. I'm having a blast with it. So I'm coaching the Creighton Prep. I love doing that. I coached O-line the first year. Last year, I still coach O-line, but I'm kind of like a coordinator now. In fact, tomorrow we're heading down to Kansas City for the Glazers clinic.
Okay.
So I'll see Lance Leipold.
Nice.
And this KU staff's going to be doing a lot of it. Yeah, all those guys. I'll see those guys down there, and just I sell real estate and I coach football, and I just go see my kids where they are. My Austin's living here now as a diesel mechanic, Kansas City. So I go down there for the games and see her, and we'll see her cheer.
Did you make Hannah go to Kansas City? So when you make your weekend visits, you're like, hey, then we can have brunch.
Well,
it's very convenient for you.
she actually has a connection with it, probably more than us. She was born down there.
Yeah.
You know, when I was playing for the Chiefs, and it just happened. Like, I mean, literally, UMKC is UNO in Kansas City. It's the exact same thing. They're both in the same conference, so it's got the same vibe, and she loves it. And it's she. I mean, I like Kansas City too. Like, if I was from Omaha, I'd live in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But she really likes it. It gives us another reason to go down there. So it's fun.
It's Chris Bober, Zach Miller, Dave Tollefson. Dave, Northwest Missouri State Hall of Fame induction.
Best football program in the country.
Is it still?
This gonna be coach, man.
But I'm in a good mood.
Oh,
I
come
don't
on. I
want
didn't
to
know
talk
that.
about what happened.
He's
in
number one
Norfolk.
guy. He's number
Yeah,
one.
I'm not getting into it. That's a whole nother story.
Your kid goes to Elkhorn. This
Yeah.
kid is the Northwest Missouri kid.
Johnny
He
Mack
was my
very
quarterback coach at UNO.
Oh, yeah.
I think Johnny is.
I remember him.
I think Johnny's the right guy.
Yeah.
But then
I just don't like
getting
him.
ready to coach right. I just like he's a bad taste in my mouth. Obviously, he's like my dad to me. He came in when I got there. So there's a lot of. I'm not like it's not like I'm lighting off Northwest or anything. I was really upset though. I was like pretty pissed. Like,
You'd be mad.
Hey, at least he can go to the games, right?
Well, now
He's
that is true.
At Central now and be down there for the Mules, man. Him and Josh Lamberson. Lambo's
no way.
Central, yeah.
I'm so far out of knowing that circle anymore.
I said to you when he was talking, like my boys are in wrestling, like UNO not having football or wrestling. I went and watched an Elkhorn kid, Mason Billlock, wrestle for Shadner State.
He'd have been here.
And it's like, man, I remember going to UNO wrestling duels. It packed that thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's far removed, but it isn't. Zach, Kenny's one of my best buddies. Like we would go watch him.
Oh, yeah.
Like I would think to go there, the Mavericks play some ball,
Oh, my only year is the full-time PA announcer. It was the last year.
Yeah, I did the radio that year.
Your fault.
Yeah, it was my fault. I might have had something to do with this.
I did the radio that year.
I know. I remember you.
That was a blast.
You were ready to start your radio
You
career.
didn't get to do it. I didn't really get to do it, but a little bit to enjoy being alumni.
No, not at all.
We never got to go take part and enjoy it. Really.
I remember Kenny was back. Gosh, it was probably my senior year, and Kenny was back on the sideline at one of our games, and I was like, cannot wait to come do that.
Yeah.
And never.
I know. That's.
Well,
He was probably wearing like all velour.
It looks bad too. Yeah.
Kenny is stunned right now.
Well, that Division II camaraderie is so different. Like, it sucks for you guys. I go back to Northwest. The kids that are playing there still know who I am.
Yeah.
It'd be the same for you guys. It's a neat experience for your kids to experience too. Like my sons would go down there and like, hey man, look, Dad's on the wall.
Especially now, there's a lot of kids that I coach in Bober Academy that are going to Division II because those roster cut downs. Yeah. You're seeing a lot of really good players that are going to the Wayne States and Northwest Missouris and places like that. They're getting a lot of good kids. So that level of football is going to get
the trickle down
better.
Yes.
Yes, and because there are less opportunities, good players are down there.
We're obviously going to get into the Super Bowl matchup. I mean, it's why we're here. But no, I want to ask both of you guys because I know that Omaha Athletics has extended that olive branch to both wrestling and to football. I know something is better than nothing as far as the recognition and everything. And I know there's just certain things that are never going to heal that wound for either one of you guys, especially two guys that had such prominent careers there and bleed for that program. But has that relationship found any kind of middle ground at all, at least the attempts of the athletic department that obviously the people that were in place at that time are no longer there, but does any of those attempts to find that middle ground?
I haven't connected with it that much, honestly. Not that I'm necessarily against it. It's just now I filled that void with other things. Now when Coach Denny comes back, I'll try to make some of those things because he's a great man. Love the dude.
And he did. Last year. They honored the hockey team.
I know there's a
hockey game. Sorry,
there's a football player that's coaching the basketball team. So some of the older guys who kind of played in that era have gone back to basketball stuff. I'm not necessarily against it. It's just not top of my list right now. Probably a little too fresh, a little bit. But I don't feel a great connection there just because they're already down.
I kind of just started that in November when they reached out to me. So I was just inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, man.
And that was like I contemplated like, do I do this? Do I not do this? Where's and everybody that I have interacted with, talked to, spoke to, obviously has nothing to do with what went down. The way that they've spoke and operated in that manner, they're doing as much as they can to extend that and just say, hey, listen, we didn't have anything. We want you guys back around. We want the history to be remembered. And so I've been there. I'm plugging to get the program. Anytime I did the commencement speech in December.
That's awesome, man.
I'm unemployed, man. You guys need a football coach. I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Well, you remember those with a Pat Caniglia Field against North. It was usually one of 2 or 3 schools: Kearney, Northwest Missouri State, and then maybe an NCC rival, maybe a North Dakota. So Northwest Missouri always drew a big crowd. Like that place packed. It was something.
And those programs were so healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that how it went down sucks, but it's like there's no reason to think they would both be doing really well.
Well,
they were in great shape.
So my old line coach Kevin Leitner was in town last week. I went down, had a beer with him down in Lincoln before the Remington Award, and he talked about, like, do you understand how many good football players were at that level at that time? Like, we had a phenomenal team.
He was a backup my senior, which is crazy.
Yeah, we had some dudes come through there, but he also noticed, and his interesting thought was, like, just how different that would be. Like, you think about, and I never have thought about this, but like my career, like I was an All-American my junior year. And he's like, if you were in college now, you'd go transfer somewhere. I'm not saying I would. I just never been in there, but he's like, that's how it worked. And Kevin was like, that's why you don't want to coach in college, man. He goes, I take that too personal.
Yeah,
it's a totally different environment now.
I can understand.
But I think some of those Division II schools would do really well because they get a lot of those kids there.
I mean, the majority of people that we were competing against are all 1AA.
They would have been able to go out.
FCS,
Those teams we played against in the NCC. South Dakota State.
This NIL stuff, I always laugh about it, and I'm thinking now Chris he's an Omaha guy. You know, he's an O-lineman. They're a little more loyal. Like, imagine if someone offered us 100 G's to go.
No kidding.
We wouldn't be here this round.
Oh, man, I was
what? Whoa!
Man, we would have
What if
lost.
Kros Strain was putting up your NIL money? You'd have to.
I'm
be
telling you, I would have lost my mind if I got 100 G's.
You got an NIL deal for beer.
Hey, no,
I was looking for Pizza's the Godfather just so I can go to the candlelight on Thursday. You know, I mean,
20 pairs of Timberlands. Like, I would have lost my mind.
I was actually talking to Adrian. The AD, Adrian Dow, about that. And he was just saying how it's like, I mean, you got to have another general manager.
They have general managers now.
So, I mean, they're in that world of, like,
Isn't
how
that crazy,
extensive it is.
So you could have a GM, you've got unlimited coaches. Now you can have unlimited contact on the field with the quote analysts. Yet you're going to reduce the roster size to 1.5. I mean, it is the NFL. College football is the NFL.
Well, except for they don't have the rules.
Yeah, well, the rules and the contracts
and the signings and the contracts. Like that. Remember that weekend where there was all those fights?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen in the NFL because they just get fined.
Well, yeah.
So the players are making this big money, but they can't be fined. I'm like, they
can transfer. They can transfer.
Yeah. So eventually that'll be a tumultuous ride to figure that out.
There's no doubt.
Will they figure it out?
Well,
Is there going to be a set amount of? Is there going to be salary cap? Is there going to be?
I think they make up sign contracts.
With revenue share, I feel like we're getting so close to contracts to where they'll be binding. We'll see.
There's some
because all you have to do is take that to court.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, the courts are very pro student athlete on that. And if they feel like they still want to leave, even after they got revenue share, there's a court that'll probably favor.
But the NFL, all the pro sports went through that back in the day. So I think college has to go through it.
They should have just let Johnny Manziel go sign his autographs for however much freaking money he would have wanted, and then we'd all be good.
Isn't that crazy? Now you can do that. But at the time, we're like, what a punk. This guy doesn't care about anything. He's signing autographs.
Did you watch the thing on Manziel on Netflix? It was more than just.
Well, it was.
But Zach, you're right. NCAA caused this.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're making a lot of money, aren't they?
It just 10 years ago.
Like these dudes get their jersey sales. Why can't they go out?
Well, they messed it up.
It wouldn't go to this money. It just was so ready to explode.
It kind of reminded me of what baseball did with steroids. They put their head in the sand for like 20 years, and it got so bad that they lost control over it. If they had addressed this 20 years ago.
I enjoyed baseball during the steroid era.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds.
Right?
Yeah.
Batting averages back in the day were up.
Yes. Well, who didn't like the Bash
every-
brothers? Who didn't like McGuire and Canseco going at
And then in
it?
September, we're sitting there watching TV to see who's going to break the record.
Well, yeah, and then I remember watching Sosa.
I remember
McGuire. I mean,
what
I
it
remember I had a film appreciation and theory class at UNO, evening class Monday night.
Yeah.
It was broken up in two parts. We had our break. As soon as the break hit, they went live to that game. None of us came back because we all wanted to see McGuire get 62.
I remember where I was when he hit that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. We're at Kros Strain in La Vista. A big thank you to Tina. Big thanks to Doug for hosting us. If you are now, we've got players represented from every team, but we do have Bear Down Omaha, a great Facebook group, by the way. If you go up to the bar and you say Bear Down Omaha, you are part of the Bear Down Omaha group. You get $3 corn head lagers.
There's still Bears fans?
Hey, and speaking of Virginia,
Next year's a year.
I wanted to get your thoughts.
To Mama
Yes.
Bear, man. She passed
Oh,
away.
that's right. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
102 years old.
One of the sweetest women I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Those are some of the icons. Like I played for with Wellington Mara as the owner, and then Lamar Hunt. So those some of those people who founded the league.
Yep.
They
I think all
made a
three of
big
you guys
impact.
have been a part of some very, at least highly regarded amongst that ownership group, highly regarded owners.
Really her and Ford are kind of the two matriarchs a little bit of it, right?
Yeah.
I think
Now that
even
Norma Hunt passed.
Yep.
Yeah.
She
was
was
just 102 years old, man.
Yeah.
And like, she was so awesome.
well, and you
Made you happy every time you saw her.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that, and I was talking to some people before this too. When you had your injury,
Mhm.
I know the McCaskies and ownership was.
They're great.
I remember you talking about how they were instrumental in
Yeah.
just being there for you, and I'm sure you had several conversations. What was that relationship like, especially with Virginia, who, no matter, it was almost like Sister Jean. You're like, I
Yeah.
can't believe she's this old, but she is as sharp as can be.
And I mean, you could just sit down and it was normal conversations. And she was funny and she was witty and always present.
She was
just
a win,
fun.
though, right? She was pretty feisty.
She hated losing. She might hate losing more than she loves winning. Like
Yeah.
this type of competitive nature that she has.
Yeah.
And you could, if you beat the Packers, that would take a little bit of sting off of the rest of
Whatever the
the.
rivalry was, if you beat them, that
And but the way that they took care of me after I was hurt in the situation that I was in, like our bond got a little bit deeper than just football.
Mm.
I think George and his wife Barb, they flew down. When I was in New Orleans, I was in ICU there for 8 days, and George and Barb flew back and forth like 4 of those days. Like they'd come, stay for a day, go back home, fly back the next day, and bring me Lou Malnati's pizza.
Nice.
And, like, bring me all the stuff in
That's
Chicago
cool,
that I
man.
did. And so like our bond got a little bit deeper in that sense. So I'll always have room for that family, and I talked to them today. So just even though you live a long, blessed life, like it's always a sad thing to see somebody go.
I mean, especially when she's been a staple of that family for so long.
well, there's a level of humanity with those kind of things that people don't realize because they're so caught up in who's going to win this game.
Well, yeah, I mean-
but at the end of the day, we're just all just people,
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm the chucklehead saying, "Hey, well, they got to sell the franchise," and then that happens, and you're like, "Okay, that kind of sucks." You know, I mean, so,
a football family, the Marrows, them, Hunts. I mean, they are who they are because of the NFL teams that they're a part of. There's not. Was there probably half a dozen teams like that in the league?
It's amazing how loyal those teams are to ex-players.
And you wonder why their fans,
And the
fans
Chiefs
are like
like
they
that.
are too. You see, the fans of most of those teams are like the most loyal fans. Steelers, what I mean? It's like the Giants are terrible, but it's like you got the
But they
fans.
still
Still got the Mares there, the dishes, yeah. I see they got
Great grandfather had season tickets. You know what I mean? You hear that, that's all.
Also,
of it.
their family goes and works. I remember Timmy McDonald was their director of player personnel now. I remember him; he's a ball boy.
yeah,
You know,
I know.
they bring those kids up, and the families are a big part of it. So it's much more of a family affair than people realize.
We got a lot of NFL knowledge at this table too, and experiencing at so many different high levels too. And so again, we're looking at a Kansas City Chiefs presence in the Super Bowl, and then again a Philadelphia Eagle presence in the Super Bowl. And I want to get right to this, guys, because I mentioned this earlier, and I don't know if I'm crazy for saying this. You make it to almost every Chiefs home game too. I know you guys keep watching it as well. Is this Eagles team the toughest that the Chiefs have faced in their Super Bowl run, given the fact that since week 5, their bye week, Eagles bye week, they're 15-1, and they're plus 27 in the turnover differential too. Like, I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders. And then there's a guy named Saquon Barkley that even when you know he's getting the ball, he's still pretty tough. They just seem to be the toughest test yet. Not to say the Chiefs are still going to, not do what they do, but this just seems like the toughest test that they've had in these last Super Bowl appearances.
Well, I think this is an example of two teams that are exact opposites. Right? The Eagles, they are very simple. They're going to run the ball. Right? They're going to play action. They got a huge O-line. Right? Saquon Barkley is who he is. Thank you, Giants, for letting him go to the Eagles. They got big receivers. Right? They just line up and they use that KISS method, that keep it simple, stupid method. On defense, they do pretty much the same thing. They play a cover 2 shell. They have big dudes up front. They run to the ball, and they just basically wear you down. And they continue to steal drives. Right? They control the tempo. They control the clock. The Chiefs are exactly the opposite. Like they come out the first drive or two, boom, right down the field. Yeah. And then they start to get figured out. But they are the best team I've ever seen at making in-game adjustants.
Andy Reid, man.
Amazing what they can do. And I think that plays well in the Super Bowl for them because we have this truncated schedule of a long halftime. But it's a battle of wills here, right? Is it going to be the Eagles playing a very boring run game, keeping it away from the Chiefs? Can they do that? Or will they be close enough at the end for Mahomes to come back and win? So it's kind of a fascinating matchup of two different and opposite ideologies that they both do what they do really well. It's just who's going to perform in this big game.
Don't give 15 the ball with the final drive, with the game on the line. I mean,
the key is going to be obviously, if Philly can run the football to keep it out of Pat's hands. That's the key to the football game. And if there's a situation where they do run it good enough, and there's a minute 30 left in the game, and they happen to score to go up 3, and Pat gets the ball back.
They got to by
I mean, how could you not? How could you not?
I think one of these teams is going to win by more than 8 points. It's got to be one or the other because either the Eagles are going to do it and wear them down, or the Chiefs are going to do it and not even let them back in the game. I don't think it's going to be close in the fourth quarter. I think one team's going to have to be so far ahead that they win. That's really how
you hit the nail on the head, though, Zach. Like, you could play a great game if you're the Eagles. Be up by 3, run the ball for 240 yards, kick the ball with a minute left. Mahomes has it. What are you just now? You're just a passenger watching.
I mean,
like I want to win. No,
you can maybe read a 45-minute halftime. To prepare. Like
we said the same thing about Bill Belichick too.
He'll have
Bill Belichick. Give him extra time.
People don't realize what the Chiefs do, and I'm not sure if any other teams do. I know the Chiefs do this because I hear from inside the building. Like they play this game as 2 games. Right, you guys, Dave, you played in 2 Super Bowls. I've been in 1. It's a pain in the ass.
Got none over here.
It's a pain in the ass to go and wait 30 to 40 minutes at halftime.
Yeah.
The Chiefs literally have 2 separate game plans, and they go to halftime. They take their pads off. And they treat it. Let's go get ready for the next game. And that's why and the first half might be really boring because they're just going to kind of try to survive, and then bring out the good stuff in the second half. And you give them that amount of time to do that, and I think another thing that's in the Chiefs' favor. Not that, again, I'm like 60-40 that where the Chiefs come out on top.
Okay.
But the Chiefs have 2 less games than the Eagles have played.
Yeah.
Right. You start seeing the Super Bowls guys start getting hurt. Because you're so
Niners.
Right off the sidelines and that running back or the linebacker.
What were we saying?
The Chiefs have 2 less games. They didn't have to play in the last game, and they had a bye week. And Andy Reid off a bye week is amazing. And when I was at the Chiefs game last week, I got to go down the field after the game, and I talked to all the linemen, Tooney and Creed Humphrey and all them. They're like, we feel amazing. Like, you guys beat up. How you feeling? Like, we're refreshed. We're ready to go. Like, they're not beat up at all.
They didn't do it like you have to do it back in the day.
No, they don't practice like
that. Tell us about camp. Tell us about camp.
How big is that bye week? You've done it coming through the wild card bracket. I get it. It's huge.
I think with the preseason games, the second Super Bowl run, I think I played like 24 games.
My first year was 24 games.
It's like, it's crazy.
What year was
2 less is a big deal. 11.
So that's a new CBA too.
Yeah. In
It
2000,
was way-
Hey, Chris had more padded practices in the first week of training camp than current NFL teams have
6 weeks of training camp in 2 days.
For
for the whole entire year.
Right.
Coughlin loved it.
And we each had
One,
CBA.
I pretty much had one
One of the new.
real training.
We had you had two.
Two.
Both had two.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
they
I
were-
was 9-10.
yeah. So like,
And it was Jack Del Rio that year, so Jack was played in the 80s, and
Yeah, he liked to get after it.
he liked to get
Yeah.
after it. And like,
But
we
it
got
was-
OTA stripped away from us because the way
Because-
that we
by
were
the
going
time,
hard.
by the time we were done, though, like camp wasn't even camp. By the time we were,
Oh, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you
I've
have
heard
a
that
locker
from a
room.
lot of like the
I mean,
women guys that are there when I was there. They're like,
That's a big deal to have us.
our training camps felt our new CBA training camps felt like our pre-CBA OTAs.
Yep. Yeah,
That would have been nice. That would have been nice.
Chris is like,
yeah.
Well, you think about this. The Chiefs they didn't have to play much hard versus the Broncos, and they didn't. Then they got that bye week. That's huge, I think, because these guys now have to play 17 games, where we only had to play 16.
Yep.
And you get to this point of year, it's things start falling off. The wheels start coming off. And if you have one less or 1.5 less games on there, I feel like that might be a factor in this game, and it has been a factor going forward. And I think Andy Reid knows how to coach in that situation. Like it's different, right? You came up to the wild card round. You have a different message, right? When you were the
9-7 and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
hot at the right time.
No, that's right.
it
Though.
can be
You're
done.
right.
But
That's why we got healthy. We had a bunch of guys out that season. Tuck,
Yep.
all them guys. We had a bunch of guys that got hurt, missed time.
Not every team handles it. The Vikings, the Detroit Lions didn't handle it.
No,
Like they got rusty.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like until you said what you said about Philly after week 5, I kind of felt like Philly were peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
I felt like it just seems like after we've watched them for the last 3 weeks, like they're just turning on all cylinders.
Mhm.
Well, they've been doing that since week 5. I was unaware that they're 15-1.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts was out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but
like that slowed him down.
To
a
me,
little
it
bit.
feels like
Somewhere
they're
you're going to
peaking
fall
right-
though
right
too. Like you're looking at I agree with you. Like I would think the same thing. Not knowing they're 15-1, it almost goes against them.
Well,
They were playing that good for that long though.
Right.
Yeah,
Most teams have played that good for that long.
you know, like what we were just saying, we go 9-7 win the NFC East.
That's right.
I think we were like hitting our stride
Yeah.
because we'd had a bunch of things happen. It's like
And
we
the
get a
Chiefs did that
3-4 week
last year.
run, whereas they're on a 16 week. At some point, things might not go your way, and the Chiefs have the refs helping them.
I love it.
I was waiting to say that.
Wait.
I was
Here's
just not
here's the
going.
funny part. Right? You talk about that. Now, as alumni, we don't get nearly as attached to it as like fans do,
Oh, yeah.
obviously. And there's one gal in my office, and she's a huge Patriots fan. And she starts getting me on me about the Chiefs or Cheetos. I said, "You're a Patriots fan?" I said, "There's
That is rich.
cheating.
I got to say, that is pretty rich.
That's cool.
Flat
Right?
football.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
Play gate or spy gate. I said,
Yeah.
"You have nothing to say."
Every gate that has happened in the
It was a
NFL is
So Tuck, my son Tucker, he'd be like, these games are scripted. That I'm like, Tucker.
Oh, so he's on the.
Well,
Okay.
it's,
Dude,
it's
I've
like
done
a,
this
it's
before.
the cool thing to
Yeah.
say now, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, Tucker, it's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you're implying?
Yeah.
Like these are the most competitive. Like there's a 0% chance that any of it is like you. The rest.
Believe me, they miss calls,
I'm telling you,
but
it's
it's better you
impossible.
overcome that.
Did you say to
Refs make bad calls, which
go tell little Timmy's dad to shut his mouth? He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think that's the human nature of the game.
Yeah.
Too. You have humans that are reffing it. Now, can we get a chip in the ball for a first down? That's a whole other story. But it's part of the game. That's part of the game we love. The same with baseball. They're fighting the computer stuff, calling strikes. It's kind of part of the game.
They forget how this has always happened. Like in 2002, when I was playing for the Giants, the refs literally made the wrong call at the last play of the game when they were at that bad snap.
Oh, yeah,
and they didn't
yeah.
call it. Like that ended our season.
We hear it in youth football.
It was a bad call. It hasn't happened to kids. It always happened.
He's trying to get to the VFW to have a beer. This guy doesn't care our fifth grade football.
To relax, to rest.
12.
There was a parent that slipped a $50 check and said, "Keep it fair.
These
Keep it fair."
refs are screwing us. Like,
Yeah.
this is fifth grade. What are we talking about here?
That's not at a young age, you know?
No one's actively trying to harm. You know, you hear
There were some confusing moments in that AFC Championship game. The spot, I was confused, and not because I thought that he actually. It's still, I think, debatable whether he got the first down. It was the line judge that we could see at the top of our screen.
Yeah.
He had a mark as
marked
a first down, and the other guy, and they never explained how that guy got overruled.
Are we talking about
to Josh Allen?
the Higbee was a first down, though.
But hey, I put that a little bit on Buffalo too.
Yeah.
Like, why are you running to the line of scrimmage?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
on the third down play.
yeah.
Well, the fourth
but I
down where
agree
they
with
got
you
right
on
up,
the
they
third,
snuck
though.
it, and then Josh Allen's back looks like it's there toward. I mean, Josh Allen's back is on the line, but is the ball? We didn't
Can't see the ball.
You can't see-
If the refs
Oh,
are
you're talking. They had their little.
But the line
their
judge
version
had
of
it
the
marked.
tush push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. It was
Half-ass
kind of.
tush push.
Yeah.
right?
No, if you know, I just did a video
wasn't
on
good
YouTube
either.
about the tush push.
But
The
third
Eagles
down
look
was a
better than
first
anything.
down, anyways.
Like-
They should have thrown the.
Well, they're
red
doing it with an
Well,
offensive lineman,
that's on-
Cam
that's on
Jurgens,
the
who has a
right.
fractured back as well.
Yeah. By the way, everyone talks about this, and I did a whole analysis of it. How it's totally it's totally different than we've ever done.
I wouldn't even fight it. If I'm,
Hey,
you're gonna get hurt.
No. But here's the deal. I think it literally caused the retirement of Jason Kelsey. You know how hard that would be?
How low you have to.
They're basically the O-line is basically doing what the D-line does, which is like a submarine.
Submarine,
And you don't bet you get beat up doing that. Like it's not fun at all. And you can't do that too much. It's horrible. It's just
What's going on underneath there?
Well, exactly. And then you had I forget the Buffalo defensive back, but he kept trying to jump the count.
that was Washington.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
He got
Yeah,
him the
watch that
first
one.
time.
Yeah,
He got him the first time. Then they just went on two, and he jumped outside for
creeps over at one point. I've never heard an official say, and we've informed them that we will award points. Like, wait, what is it?
You can do that.
Ever said?
I don't know. I think he just wanted to
Hey,
stop.
so you said go back to the tush push revolution as a game. Philly,
The way Philly does it.
yeah, I don't know the exact detail. If they have 60 some rushing touchdowns, 61 or 62 in the year, over 20 of them are from the tush push.
Yep.
You're talking a third.
Well, that fits in with their
their
style because you think about, let's just say you're whoever you're playing the Eagles, the Chiefs this week. You got 3rd and 10. So you play defense. You're like, hey, listen, let them take the underneath route. We'll just tackle them before the first round. And they'll punt the ball. Well, if they get
So let me get
they're going for it. That makes the defense now have to defend the underneath and the over. And
Creates a whole dynamic.
it totally is a dynamic that what Philly uses their run and play action game. They're if you get into a situation where they have to throw the ball, Jalen Hurts isn't that good at that. But if they run play action, it's really, really good when you can have Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts actually himself is a good runner. He
No,
can
AJ
set
Brown.
up the play action really, really well. And they have to stay on schedule to do
AJ
that.
Brown's a beast.
Well, Brown,
AJ
Devontae
Brown's
Smith
he's being almost
gives you the
underutilized, honestly.
and
He does. He's on the. He did 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
on football and
I know.
Yeah.
I know. They give it to
Don't give me started on Saquon.
well, I want to get your insight on Spags because obviously you know a lot about that. Okay, but take me through if you're trying to defend the tush push, and Spags is trying to say, all right, if we get in the situation and we've got to somehow do something. What do you do?
I would.
I mean, is there anything
I would line up and at this juncture, how good they are at it.
Yeah.
I would really think hard about not trying that hard to defend it to prevent getting injured. I mean, you really the way that they do it with how tight they are, rugby scrum, you can't.
So again, in my video, I did a long video about it. So
I'm going to check out this video, by the way.
Listen, Washington
Hey, throw a little link in there.
Yeah,
I will.
Drop the link there.
So Washington stopped it 3 times.
Yeah.
But the only way you can stop it is from the side. Right. So what they're trying to do is basically the linemen are scooping underneath, and Jalen Hurts is falling on top of them. And he's actually literally laying on top of them, but he's not down because
He's like crowd surfing.
So the guys behind him push him over, and he literally surfs over.
Yeah.
The way it gets stopped is the guys come from the edge and grab him before the pushers can push him over. And Washington did that 2 or 3 times, but they jump outside to do it.
Yeah.
But the only way you can stop it is literally catching them from the side. You cannot get underneath those dudes.
Or you're hoping for a bobbled snap.
Which he does.
Yeah, and that when you get that much traffic there,
Those
that
3
can
that
happen.
happen, he actually did bobble the snap. Because honestly, a center to do that technique and snap the ball is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Like you can't fire off. It's hard. So
you can't really practice it. Like if you're going to prepare for the Eagles,
Yeah, there's no way to simulate it.
No one's even replicating it. Live man on 7 at this point in the
You're calling
season.
in the local. You're calling in the local
Yeah.
penitentiary team and saying, "Hey, would you guys come out here for maybe a half hour and just go balls to the wall?"
Honestly, the guy at Washington that timed the jump perfectly.
Yeah.
1 out of 100.
He's
the only way to stop it, really.
Can you move Chris Jones to the middle? Like, is there?
And that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter
There's
because
not amount of bodies that you can
they're
put in
all
the A gap.
literally hip to hip,
Yeah.
and they just fly out forward. And all the defensive lineman can do, and you know what it's like to get cut. Your knees don't go backwards.
Yeah.
So all you can do is like raise up and try to fall on top.
Yeah.
As a D lineman, you could get lower than them, but we're talking about to get a first down, they need a foot.
Yeah.
So like you might get lower than the lineman, he'll fall on top of you, and just like he's saying, he's going to go right over,
scale over him. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, when we played, we'd say it hit Jalen Hurts in the head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, get your licks in. Try to get some licks in, but you can't do that now. So, and Jalen Hurts squats 700 pounds, right? Like, we're not talking about like,
you get Jalen. You're like, you all right, dog?
This is what it looks like, right? Look how low. It looks like the defense.
It's
is
a rugby scrum.
It is a rugby scrum.
And they basically submarine the defense.
But
and
that
the genius of it is that all he does is fall on top of the lineman. But he's not down because he's on lineman, and they just surf him over it.
Well,
and he gets stopped quite often, but they don't get him to the ground.
The only hang up that I have with it, because they're like, they need to outlaw it, which is like.
Okay, I was just going to ask.
What's the mechanism?
I would much more respect your guys' decision on this or your opinion on this.
Give them props for doing it.
Should they consider going away with it?
Then where's the line stop?
I would say,
I don't know. That's why I asked.
You can't assist a ball carrier is the only thing I would say.
So that happens a lot in there.
Well, as well.
Okay, so you can't push him to put your shoulder into him. I mean, they're going to always find a way to, but like the whole right education Notre Dame.
Yep.
Yeah.
The bush.
Like there is some rules where you can't.
You're not supposed to be able to pull him in.
You see linemen do it all the time.
In the NFL, they're actually
it's a gray area. Absolutely. Yeah.
In the NFL, you can do whatever you want. You get to college and high school, you can't. You can push them. You can't pull them.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know this until the Class B state championship game that you can't hurdle and actually land.
Guy with both his feet on the ground.
Well, yeah.
Wait a minute.
So what? You got
in high school, you got
to do like a broad jump or something. Like
you cannot
if he's on his feet. Like if a guy goes to tackle, you can jump over it. Because the kid in the game, like literally did like what Saquon did, but frontwards, and they 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, because you cannot jump over someone.
If they're still on their feet, you can't leap over them.
You have to.
I think that the reason they started that is they don't. But they don't want kids like doing crazy, stupid stuff into the end zone. Like,
but they see that every weekend. It's so natural. They see it every weekend because in the college game and the NFL game, they make it look so easy. So
I imagine they take that out. I mean, what's the deal? What's the big deal?
I thought it was.
I don't think you can legislate that play.
I don't know what's illegal about it.
That's what I mean, and it's like it's football.
Yeah,
it's not like the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Nice little giant shot out there.
And I'll say this: it's a huge advantage for them. This is seriously, that's might be their best play.
Nobody else.
It might be the biggest advantage they have on offense.
Nobody else does it like them. Like you see, Buffalo is rushing to the line and trying to get this thing done.
And they're so upright. They're just so upright when they're doing it too.
That's what I'm saying. Someone who invented this at the Eagles really changed the way the quarterback sneak is. Yeah. They're the only ones who can do it.
Jalen Hurts is a big piece though too, man. The way he's built.
But Josh Allen should be able to.
Josh ain't as strong as Jalen.
But they don't do the
submarine, and then they got like one off back.
It's just inside zone.
But I think they didn't have the double wing back.
No, they don't have him leaning.
I think Josh Allen's length
okay
hurts him. Nice. Jalen has leverage, and he's just like he's like the perfect. But again, Jalen can't throw the ball like dudes like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
He can't really defense as much as those guys.
Another thing. It'll be interesting if it comes down to this play, which it should, right?
Yeah, it could.
You know, the NFL,
I was the Chiefs. I'd let him score so you get the ball back.
You kind of have to. You basically concede it.
Give it to Pat, man.
Yeah, that's all.
Like, all right,
those are the plays. It literally falls right into what the Eagles are, with their very, very large offensive line.
Yeah,
and their big running back.
Well, okay, so there's the tush push part of Philadelphia offensively, what they do, and we were talking A.J. Brown, we're talking Devontae Smith, we're talking Saquon Barkley.
Let's not forget Goddard.
Not playing bad all of a sudden either. And see, here's a question I got for you, because what we've seen the Chiefs do, and they did it successfully quite a bit in the playoffs, a lot of zero blitz, tight end.
That was Red Dog.
Don't you love Spags?
That was Spags' deal.
That's another
So shoot your gun.
factor of this game.
Now, the way you drew it up with the corner going inside, you would draw it a little different depending on the formation and stuff. That's kind of it. That's
They set him up with that. Like even the Buffalo linemen said all day long they were showing them mud blitz, and they would bring someone somewhere else. So by the fourth or fifth time they did it on fourth down against Buffalo, they turned the protection to the left because that's where it's been coming from. Well, Spags just knew when to back out and bring the other guy.
Yeah.
But
All of a sudden, you're a free rusher, and it was like, throw it to the screen pass. I'm like, back down was running for his life.
You remember
a block.
in the first Super Bowl when Kavika Mitchell pretend like we ran that blitz and Kavika you blitzed in the regular season.
Yeah.
So like Spags has like these that blitz that he ran, I think it's called Red Dot. I texted him after the game. But it's not the way it might be the outside backer that blitzes most of the time, but depending on the formation and the personnel, like that can change who goes. And I 100% could see Spags like, we're going to see this. We're going to give him this look a couple times.
And how do you wait till the fourth quarter to call that?
Right.
They do that. I'm telling you, that's why they're so good in that second half of the Super Bowl. Is he'll go this for a whole game and set you up to have the big play when they need it.
You got to make it though. This is where you get in trouble.
Yeah.
You do a zero dog.
Oh no.
And you got a guy.
Well, that was a perfect storm though, because they were shortened into the boundary, and they had their X tight end or X receiver was close. Like it was.
If you see the way Spags runs this, there'll be someone open. But Blitz is getting there, or they took it away. And a lot of times, what they do, and Dave knows this, they will do it in a way to where your read isn't the guy that's coming open.
Yeah,
it's the guy that you think is going to be open, but they know.
And they're selling out on that. But the guy, so is it more of he's taking away the line of sight of the quarterback on what actually is open?
That's stuff that we would talk about in these situations, even with our pass rush stuff. Was getting to the quarterback's feet. You guys have heard me say this stuff before, but like Josh Allen, the guy was open, but once you present that to them, if you're doing it right now, I would almost bet that it was drawn up a certain way, and when things would change, Spags wasn't yelling from the sideline, "Hey, you're blitzing now." The guys knew that.
Yeah,
you're kind of relying on the guy to know what he's doing, and that's what changed, and the kid did his job. Now, if the kid doesn't recognize it, which happens, guys make mistakes. The right guy doesn't blitz, whatever. Two guys blitz that aren't supposed to, etc. The one it's a lot more complicated than it looks. It's not just like a zero blitz, and
it's like an option route for offensive guys.
Yes, and the one thing where Spags, and this happened with us in that first Super Bowl run. He's a Jim Johnson guy. Like blitzing is his. And zone blitzing, and we would drop early in that season. He really kind of transitioned to what he's doing with the Chiefs now. It's like, hey man, you can sit back and pay attention and let your dudes get to work. Yeah. So he really has turned into this like picking his spots, and he like.
But this guy does everything though.
Exactly.
He'll show single high roll back to two, and I mean what he does. It's just unbelievable how guys can all be on the same page. That's
because it's a timing thing, right? I mean, and if you're the split, like you're kind of bringing up like an option, like if you're a split second late on the read or your assignment, then that could be a huge play for the offense, right?
So
if you don't get there,
that's what I mean. Yeah, like just
if you see a big play, there'll probably be a big play where they don't get home.
So Zach could probably tell you, he probably liked playing against blitz heavy teams. If you could,
your quarterback can see it,
they don't get home, because then you're one missed away from the crib.
Yeah. So like you got a guy like Spags that's kind of got this mixed bag of Tampa 2 4-man rush.
Yeah.
Telling they're meeting all week like this is what we're gonna run and we're gonna pick our spots, like execute it, because maybe he has 15, 20 blitzes and can even go back if something else ain't working at halftime, like you're seeing, and pull that out of the bag. But like playing against a 4-man rush is the toughest thing to do because now you got to get open.
Bodies.
You know what the Chiefs do really well that people I don't think give enough credit for is they'll bring a fifth guy to occupy the fifth lineman, and then someone has to block Chris Jones man to man. Like that, I think their ultimate goal, other than coming up with big plays and big moments, is to try to get their best pass rushers in a man-to-man situation. And I'm so happy I didn't have to play against Chris Jones, because you put him in man-to-man, he's going to get home a lot. So a lot of these blitzes, you'll see this, they'll have a guy that goes after a guy that's not coming, and all of a sudden you're singled up on Chris Jones, you're almost wasting alignment because you turned it the wrong way. And he'll mix and match in there, but he's ultimately trying to get one-on-one matchups for like Chris Jones, Karlaftis, some of those guys that can rush the passer. Then those guys drop back, so they get the element of one-to-one rushing, and they have coverage behind it, and that gets super hard because there's too many guys out in the patterns, and you got guys coming after you. So they'll do that, and then they'll drop linemen into the coverage. I mean,
it's funny when he does that, because like,
oh, Dave.
I feel like he does that just to save, like, to give a look. Because who are we going to cover? Like, if
you're just trying to get in a hot route.
Like, you're dropping linemen, we're really not covering anybody.
Yeah.
It's like,
anybody ever said Dave Tollefson's really good in drop back and coverage?
I had to cover Deshaun Jackson one time.
Oh, who won?
Yeah. Well, he got a first down. The coach is like ripping me. I tackled him. I'm like, that's pretty good.
He's a half step faster.
It was like a 3rd and 8, and they converted. He's like, you gotta get this. I'm like, okay.
How about you scheme that a little bit better?
You need to body him. I'm like, what do you? I can't. He's like to my chest.
Yeah.
But like, it's so interesting to see, because we would manipulate like offensive linemen. There's not a ton of different protections up front as far as sliding a certain way, turning in the center. So like we Spags is so good at the alignment behind us to manipulate their protection, like what Chris said.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Chris a one-on-one. You set the Mike backer away, so the center's got to turn.
Yep.
He lines up in a good enough spot where he can get an inside or outside move. So it's really neat when you kind of know what we know. You see this little mini. I mean, the tight end position is the best position on offense to talk about stemming. Like, you guys manipulate the middle of the field.
Yeah, they get a nasty chip.
It's a joke. This dude's. It pisses me off. Probably pisses you off. The dude's making routes up. Yeah. You can't do that. That's against the rules.
Them and him and Pat are so good at being on the right page with each other. Yeah, but I think Andy and Matt Nagy do a good job of letting them play the game.
They give them some room to do.
So there's like, oh, hey, this is the route. This is what it looks like on paper. And there's a lot of guys that they run the route.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game now.
Yeah, totally.
You got to feel it. And like their freedom that they have, it almost feels like you're a kid again in the backyard. And you're like, hey. And they give that look, you're like, all right, they're going to do some shit.
Okay, so on that point, because we're talking about what Philadelphia might do to counter that if they have the personnel to do that. There was a game, Zach, that I remember you and Jay. I think this was a Monday night in San Diego. You guys are playing the Chargers. God, did you have 2 touchdown catches in that? There was one where you did one of these. It looked like, again, an all-out, either a zero, casino blitz, whatever it was. And it looked like there was some type of communication, whether it was hand signals or whatever, between you and Jay Cutler, where you just essentially you occupied a space that didn't exist. And he threw it under duress.
Yeah.
Got it to you, you score. Is this all the pre-snap games that are going to be played between Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert? Is that what you have to do to occupy that space that is going to be essentially evacuated with this blitz?
The San Diego game, I knew when we broke the huddle, we knew that was happening.
Yeah.
Just off the play call. Mm-hmm. Thing was, he had to climb the pocket a little bit.
Yeah.
And I knew they're going to fly and double.
You got into the safety.
To my side, I'm like, are you going to double Alshon? You're going to double me.
Go take yourself some credit for that. At some point, you saw double teams.
Right.
The longer he was under, the longer bring the safety back in play.
Yes. So we knew that was going to happen. But there was a play on a different Monday night game against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And almost similar to the point of just like playing the game, where Jay was like, I was actually in the backfield and I was supposed to chip and run a flat.
Yeah.
And Jay was like, hey, he's like, take the middle here. And I'm like, this is kind of just like,
yeah, you gotta get him all out.
Sure, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I can do this? He's like, take the middle. I'm like, all right, cool. Chip, I know run the angle and wide.
Yeah.
Catch it. And end of the first half. So I'm scrambling to get out of bounds to stop the clock and give us another shot. But that's one of those things of which we did, and we throw a Hail Mary to no avail. But anticlimactic story.
I know. Come on, dang it. That's supposed to end in a victory.
Hey, get to the middle, do this. Like some of that freedom started to come with him and I on the same page. Yeah. Similar, not as a high of success rate.
But do you think that, like, I feel like obviously Mahomes and Kelsey have that. They've done that for a while.
It's more than
I've watched
that.
enough of the Eagles. I don't feel like Jalen Hurts is that kind of guy. I think Jalen Hurts is more like, I'm going to run the ball, and his opportunities come through like either RPOs or play action to give him easy throws based upon the defense sucking up. I don't know if he's at the point in his career where he does those kind of things. It doesn't seem like it to me as I'm watching it. I'm not.
Is he a dude though that when he, if you're improvising or you're rolling the pocket out for him and he's cutting the field down in half, where he's not having to go sideline to sideline, that's probably where he's
want to do for him. That's absolutely
and that's where he's most effective. But now you do have some dudes between their receiving personnel, even Saquon, in space.
Yeah,
that's problematic.
Because he's not built like Mahomes or like Jay was, and those guys who like intellectually can move guys around and tell you to occupy the middle. He's more skilled at like running the ball and creating opportunities through people believe he runs the ball. And then that gives him single high, man-to-man, gives him routes in that cover two. Over the middle, whatever it is, he can take advantage of those, but they're not hard reads. You know what I mean? He's just not that kind of quarterback. He's more like a running quarterback where Mahomes manipulates all day long, just like some of these guys. So you saw Mahomes that first game, the first drive against Buffalo. Those throws he was making, and those are all RPOs. And they're playing man-to-man. They're like, we'll hit you on the quick slant. Hit you on the quick slant. Well, the Chiefs are masters of leverage, right? They get horizontal leverage, and they'll find space and give a run after catch. You know, I don't think Hurts will do that. I think he's either going to run the ball or give him a play action pass. You put him in that situation, I don't think he does that well. He's just not built to do that. And that goes along with who they are. They got to know who they are and stick to it.
Defensively, and I want to get more now into the Philadelphia side of this as far as what they're doing defensively. And again, a guy like Carter, who, you know, we've talked about Chris Jones and how big he is. Carter is also huge for Philadelphia. That dude's unbelievable. That defense being able to, and I get it, not the same personnel exactly was there 2 years ago when these two teams locked up, but you see tendencies. Both coaches, Nick Sirianni sees tendencies, Andy Reid's going to see tendencies from what Philadelphia wants to do. I feel like, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, I feel like this is Andy Reid trusting more what he does as opposed to what Philadelphia does, where I think Nick Sirianni's trying to counter what Kansas City does, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that later. This Kansas City offense with the guy, I thought that personnel-wise, they're explosive. They haven't been dominant. They've just been around. They've just been around. They're hanging around. Yeah,
which is hard to like. It's hard
like Denny KGB.
I'm like, when are they going to lose?
Yeah. Yes.
Because they just kind of stick around and then they figure out a way to do it. Now, I will say, since in the last couple weeks of the season and then in the playoffs, they really have hit their stride. A completely different offense. They got Hollywood Brown back, huge. Some of their guys got healthy. They do have issues at tackle. But if you notice this, they will not just drop back in the pocket. They do counter pass. They roll him out like a dash thing. They don't just sit back and say, we're going to sit back there because they know they can't hold up. Because their left tackle especially is Tooney, who I love, but he's a guard playing tackle.
Yeah, where's he going to play?
I talked to Tooney, and I'm like, dude, I appreciate it. I was a center, and the Giants didn't move me to tackle. He's like, I know, I'm just trying to survive. But they put him in one-on-one situations. So they'll literally like run these weird dash. They don't do conventional
Andy Reid
protections. And they get the ball in his hands. He'll run little quick screens, and they're like, okay, go man-to-man. We'll just pick you. Zone just sit in the zone, or Mahomes will run it. They're just masters of taking what the defense gives you and making them wrong. They're not going to overwhelm you. They're just going to, all right, what you do, we have an answer for. And it's just weird because I feel like it's frustrating for a defense because you do everything right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, how do you get the ball? Like, how's he getting a first down on a crossing line on a mesh? They do so many things like that, and I think they just frustrate defenses.
Well, and that's where I'm looking at it from the defensive standpoint from Philadelphia. Because I totally agree with what you just said there as far as you do so many things right in each play, yet there's that improvisation from Patrick Mahomes or that, like we're talking about that chemistry he has with Kelsey, that there are just things that you they're off script. But from a defensive standpoint, if you're looking at an offense that is seasoned as they are, that is connected as they are, where are your wins? Where do you see the win defensively for Philadelphia?
So that's the issue that Philly's going to run into, and I think that defense is really good. But Jalen's like a poor man's Josh Allen in a sense. So the Kansas City Chiefs have kind of seen this before. They had a great running game in Buffalo. The issue that Philly's going to run into is they haven't really seen someone like Mahomes.
Right.
There's a reason that there's really two dudes when I was in the league, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, that you could do everything right to get ready to play them, and they're going to change every play at the line of scrimmage. And they're going to do things that can you hang in there and keep the game to a certain extent close to where you can have an opportunity to win late. Because it just – the whole Travis Kelce thing on defense, if you were playing tight end and we were on a certain coverage, I would line up a certain way to wall you off and try to, if you had an option route, to get you to get to where coverage is at. Yeah. Travis is just running street routes. Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
But it's like you're not allowed to do that. You have rules.
There really is, but he's just going where you're not.
Yeah.
It's so unconventional. So how do you defend it?
So you would use his rules against him, but in this instance, he doesn't have any.
Yeah.
And Patrick as well. He's allowed this kind of fluidity within the offense that just you have to be really patient. And we knew that when we played Tom early on. Let's stop the run, which against Philly is a totally different beast. But let's at least talk them out of running the ball. And if we give up a touchdown early, that's fine with him throwing. But let's at least try to come to
make him work on third down.
Yeah, come the second half. They don't even want to run the ball. Let's at least get that off the table. And against Philly, that's going to be really hard. But for Philadelphia's defense, we did great on this. It's 14-10. We're up 4. Well, they might come out after halftime and it not even be the same thing that you saw the whole first half.
Yeah.
And
like a 14-play, 8-minute drive to go score a touchdown. The Chiefs do it in a minute 14.
It's just Patrick, man.
Back out here again.
He's just a different cat, man. I mean, the way that he's able to manipulate the in play is just he's like Aaron Rodgers on steroids. Aaron Rodgers was really difficult because of his arm angle stuff.
Yeah.
What about Aaron Rodgers on ayahuasca?
Maybe he was. That's what he didn't wait till the offseason for a trip. He was on the trip.
But it's like, yes, Philly's defense has the dudes up front. I can't speak on their behalf.
Do we need more?
I was just putting these on ice.
Oh, here's the deal. I think
some good work here, boys.
I think Philly is gonna.
What we doing? Okay. We got some unemployed guys on a Thursday afternoon.
I really think the Chiefs. You read all about golfing. Like when you go to a big hill and you start going downhill, the governor kicks in, they slow down.
Yeah,
that's what the Chiefs
do. If Saquon doesn't win MVP,
wait, yours slows down?
Jesus, you're gonna lose. That's my consensus. If Saquon doesn't win MVP, the Eagles lose.
Saquon could still rush for that many yards and still lose the game. That's a crazy thing.
It is, but if he gets 200 or something
let's talk about Saquon, right? I mean, I love Saquon Barkley. Saquon, you're a baseball guy, right? You talk about 5-tool players. Yeah. Saquon's a 5-tool running back, right? He can run for speed, he can run for power, he can make you miss, he can block it, he can catch. He can do all that at the highest level, higher than almost anyone. And he's such a weapon out there, and he's going to have to have 200 all-purpose yards to win this game and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. And the hardest thing about Saquon, you play defense. So as a defender, you see this guy. Saquon's a big dude, and you see this guy running, and you think in your brain you have this calculus that happens, this trigonometry that says, "I'm going to take this angle." He's faster than you think he is. He never gets people to get a full tackle on him because he's so fast. Yeah. If he can get some big runs like he did in the championship game, that's how you really start trying to get the Chiefs out of their game plan.
Yeah, is there a part
do that? You have to stay on top of him. You cannot try to get him from the side. You got to cap him and just say he's going to get 10 yards. Great, this time he gets 60 yards.
Is there a part of this game where it sounds crazy? Because again, we now know the Chiefs. I remember that Texans Chiefs playoff game years back when they were down, and all of a sudden they're back. is there a part where Philadelphia, if maybe this is a better question, how does Philadelphia get the Kansas City Chiefs uncomfortable?
Turnovers.
And that's it.
If they win the turnover battle, they have to.
I mean,
They have to
go up, what, 17 early? I mean,
Yeah. They have to,
hopefully,
in the fourth quarter, they have to win them by 10, by more than 10.
And I'll say this, compared to that Houston team, and
they're not going to get. Chiefs aren't going to have penalties.
No.
right.
Well,
I made this point earlier. Yeah, it's true because they're on the tape. I made this point earlier.
Line with the script.
The Chiefs they're like that. Remember how people would always talk about Northwestern in the Big Ten? They're like, well, they're not very talented. I mean, the Chiefs are obviously talented. They're not overwhelming, but boy, they're just waiting for you to make that mistake.
Yeah.
And when you do, they'll pounce on it.
Yeah.
There's something about the Chiefs, the way they've played this season, and especially in the postseason, where they've kind of been that team. So it's tough for me to imagine a scenario where they are overly uncomfortable. But if you were to throw that same scenario that happened to them against the Texans, I don't think this Chiefs team is built to come back the way that one did.
Well,
Because of what Philadelphia would do with that lead.
Exactly. Because if Philly's at that lead, they're just going to keep doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they have a definitive running game.
Yeah.
I remember that movie Rounders? It was like hanging around.
Yeah.
Hanging around.
Teddy
Give
Give that man his money.
Pay him his money.
The Eagles have to win time of possession.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have long drives, keep the other team's best player, Mahomes, off the field. Because the more the Chiefs can get out there, the more they can diagnose the solution for whatever's happening. They have to have that happen. And in my opinion, if the Chiefs turn the ball, if the Eagles can win the turnover margin, and the Eagles have done that pretty well this year.
Yeah, they're plus 27 right now.
They have done it. And now the Chiefs, for the first probably 2/3 of the year, were not very. They were -4. They've really come on. They haven't given it away in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But the turnover thing is, I think if the Chiefs lose that, they might lose the game. If the Eagles win it, I think they can win the game because then they steal those possessions.
You got to hit Mahomes, man.
Okay.
Dude, that bootleg deal against the Bills,
No chance.
those guys, and Jamar Hamlin,
Yeah.
cool. Come back from a heart attack. That's pretty cool. I'm not taking anything away.
Come back from
I hope you're not. That was pretty impressive.
You rise.
Dude died.
Yeah, well,
yes.
okay. So him and Jesus were the only two people ever. Jesus and Damar Hamlin rose from the dead.
Came back from.
Okay. So,
Wow.
Okay.
Oh
But
my God.
you gotta hit Mahomes.
You got to be willing to. Honestly, you got to be willing to take the penalty.
How
How many times has he been sacked this year?
He got sacked early and often, but recently it hasn't been much.
it's like you. And I'm kind of crazy. Like if I'm the
He's good
Bills, we were
quarterback,
talking
man.
about this. Like me and Kenny were like, maybe you do something illegal.
A couple shots.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
You take a
not,
fine in the Super Bowl?
I mean, I would.
Just
My
to win.
boys would help me pay for it, though. You know,
Especially if you win, you get a bonus.
Sweep the leg.
Yeah,
He'll do whatever
Let's
you
go.
want.
Okay.
if you don't get to him,
Yeah.
he's just so comfortable on our.
So he's been sacked 34 times.
He's got sacked a lot. It just has not been recently. And with the Chiefs,
But it's not in the key moments too. It's not in a game where you either have a
A
lead.
2-minute drill wins. He doesn't get
Exactly. That would be another interesting stat right there, Zach. Is okay. 34 seems like okay. That's a lot. How many times does that happen when Kansas City's been in a one possession? It's either been on the second to last or last possession because I bet it's very few.
no.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Chiefs, so here's the deal, though.
I'm more looking at 2 a game.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
That's not
No.
bad.
Yeah, that's
There
pretty
were
good.
some games that was really bad for the Chiefs. But what the Chiefs have done is they've
That's
adapted.
David Carr. He'd like to have 34.
The Chiefs-
I got Caleb Williams 65 times.
But the Chiefs have adapted their game plan. Like they don't just let him sit back there anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, hit him when he rolls out. You got to get to him. That's what I'm saying. Like he ran in those runs for TDs, and I'm like, this is over.
And it's
Like,
What about you? Are you going to hit him when he's going out of bounds? Then?
bro, I would light him up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Flags.
Because then he steps right back in.
It'd be
Hey,
the Muppet Christmas.
Hey, he's hanging out on the sideline as long as he can for you to hit him.
Hey, think about this.
And then,
You're
oh,
the
I
D
see,
line,
I
right?
bounds.
You get to the third down, like the 2-minute drill. After the first play, maybe 2, you ain't got any juice to more rush the passer.
Yeah.
So it's like that's almost you don't get a lot of pressure in 2-minute situations because as linemen we love it because you just got to get past like that first play. Because the D linemen spend so much energy rushing the passer.
What are you guys running in 2 minutes?
4, 2, Or
Yeah, just trying to-
I mean, you guys are in.
So we would build a whole game plan. Like it,
I feel like every time that there goes to a 2-minute drill, the defense completely abandons their entire.
like
They're going
Yeah.
into. They're going into like
so
cover
it's
two.
funny. Oh, go ahead.
We're
It's
gonna
funny
do
you
it.
say
one
this.
advantage for the offense.
So-
The rush is one example. You
So I talked to
rush once.
you
you're
guys. This is
dead.
interesting you bring that up because I 100% agree with you. Coach Waffle, who coached in New York, he was our D-line coach. He was talking about how these defensive line game plans have changed now in the NFL, and that some of it probably has to do with the quarterback being protected. But we would have an entire game plan up front. We would call our own games. Like we would do everything because in that instance, and you guys know this, that's why hurry up's so effective is we got to be vanilla.
Yeah.
I mean, because we got to get lined up. So that's why
They
for
have
us,
one time you're tired.
it put the pressure on us up front because we know they're going to know we're in cover 2 or whatever it is, right? So it's like we need to get home and at least get the quarterback's feet. Now, Mahomes, you could beat his feet and he's still going to get it off.
Right.
That's why you got to hit him. But I mean, you got to do it legally now. But I mean,
And if you guys do get home and you get a sack, like the likelihood and the percentages of 2-minute drives being successful after a sack,
It jumps down. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, you want to look at the Super Bowl that Mahomes lost, right? He got hit a lot. Right. That Tampa had a
JBP,
great game
yep.
plan. They had a great
Black
game
Bear.
plan. They hit him and they
You know,
took him out of
baby.
his rhythm.
Yeah.
He really did, and that's very, very, very few people have done that to him now.
But what drives me crazy is you're right. And that the Chiefs know that. Mahomes does a great job of aiding. But like when you run a boot with him like that and as the Bills, you're not taking like I was like, what y'all are like there's a couple when you look at it like DeMar kind of like avoids them. I'm like, oh, they're toast.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you can't stop Mahomes, I almost feel like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's smart enough to do it. Like I'm gonna do this just to hurt him.
So I'm going to talk about. Obviously, I watch the Chiefs a lot, right? And everyone got mad during that Houston game when Houston got 2 of roughing the passer penalties. But I want to show you.
One was garbage. One was garbage.
Let me tell you the difference. I'm not saying
Just throwing that out there. It was bad.
But you want to see the difference between playing checkers and playing chess?
Well, yeah.
Okay, that same game, Stroud, the quarterback for Houston, is scrambling down the field. And he's not even close to the sidelines. And one of the Chiefs DBs is right there. And what most DBs will do is they'll try to come up and make a tackle. What he did is he just knew that he's not going to put himself in position to get the penalty. So he kind of got pushed right over the quarterback, but he made the tackle. Houston's guys were all doing that, and they're getting penalties for it. I guarantee you, Andy Reid and the Chiefs are teaching them to stay out of problems to get penalties. He gave up a couple extra yards to not get the 15-yard penalty. Like I don't think it's right, but it's within the rules to sit there and say they're going to call these penalties if you tackle guys like that. So the Chiefs guys are sitting back there saying, "I'll give him a couple more yards, but I'm not going to get the 15-yard penalty." Where the Houston guys were freaking trying to kill him, they got the penalties. You know what I mean? That's how the rules are set.
That's a fair point you're bringing up. No,
You ain't gonna put you ain't
maybe CJ Stroud does get a couple of those calls, but they didn't put themselves in position to find out.
They exactly. They mitigated the situation, and that's the difference why Andy Reid's teams are so good from Philly all the way through Kansas City. Those little things like that, they're coached to stay out of trouble.
There's not a situation
Not right, but
I don't think that Andy, Spag, Coach Nagy, any of those guys, I don't think their entire coaching staff, I don't think there's a situation or
they haven't
that
practiced.
they haven't prepared for, or that they haven't thought of, or imagined how this will play out. Like I think they're so
They're
good.
doing it in the offseason. Like they are smarter than
the continuity.
some of those things that they do in the offseason are like, this may never come up, but we're going to practice. You know, the free kick after a fair catch on they practice stuff like that.
I think there's so
they're
much
very well put together.
that like there's nothing that they're not prepared for, and that they've worked for things, and they know that okay, maybe it won't come up, but when it does, we're ready for it, and it plays out probably in their favor more.
And they've
How
been
many
there
years
long enough to do that.
6.
Cutler, like think about the continuity you got with him. I mean, that goes like we talk about Travis and Mahomes. You get that same dude, like.
I played Joe 5.
But I'm just saying though, like it goes so far. It goes. I mean, you and him. You talk about early on when he's telling you to cut it in. You're like, well, now it's like, Which
Like,
is gospel.
I'm like, bro, can I do that? Because Coach Fox might yell at me.
God damn it, Doug! What are you doing, Doug?
Hey, you want an example of this? Last year's Super Bowl.
That was my best.
Last year's Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
When at the end of overtime, the Niners didn't. They thought at the end of overtime, they legitimately thought the game was going to be over. The Chiefs knew that it would just be extended. I guarantee you, those Chiefs practiced that situation. I guarantee you, the Niners didn't. Like that's the different level of coaching that the Chiefs were totally confident. They knew the rules.
I mean,
the Niners didn't. They asked their players like, "We thought the game was going to be over."
Yeah.
They're coaching.
I would agree with you there.
Higher level.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question there.
Kittle spoke about that.
Some of those guys knew it, but not everyone.
No, I think Kittle was like unaware of what was going to happen. Maybe I'm not quite sure. I don't know that Kyle was aware.
Yeah.
You're right. No, you're right. He danced around it a lot, and then I think at one point it was maybe a few days, maybe even a week later. I think he fully admitted I didn't know
and like we get the luxury of sitting at home. We're like,
and then we got
that just shows you how good Andy Reid is.
Rules expert Greg Austin or whoever comes in and he gives you the rule right there. So then we're all experts.
I do not know that, bro.
Yeah, without the graphic, we don't know either.
But that just shows you how good Andy Reid is.
Yeah.
Football's still football, though.
All that.
That's like
an absolute savant.
all this new Kyle Shanahan play calling offense, dude. Anybody love? I mean, unbelievable. Kind of these new age guys. But at the end of the day, situational football, Andy Reid, these kind of old school guys that are like, you got to run the ball, you got to stop the run, you got to have a great 2-minute drill. The game really hasn't changed as much as you think it's. But I mean, it all looks good. You're throwing for all these yards and stuff, but Chiefs Super Bowl champ, like we were saying, the Eagles ran for 240. Get to the locker room. Red and yellow. Like, good job. Y'all ran the ball well. Go home now.
Well, we have not talked about, though, because I get why we haven't. And I got to admit, he's kind of a goober. Nick Sirianni, though.
But his players love him, though.
They do. And this time last year, I did not think they did. This time last year, it seemed like there was a lot of and he does a little bit of talking. Hell, he talks. He talks back to the national anthem. I know, what a great meme.
But I will say this:
but every time that I was sidelined and the national anthem was playing, I was like, man, this is cool, right?
Well, and especially in Super Bowl. Come on,
he's kind of a
banger.
He's an East Coast guy.
Oh, totally. You
guys, are you saying that those were cracking?
I think so.
So now we got Nick Sirianni.
There's a difference.
He's fake crying.
Those people.
But before we start talking about all this, I should have said this.
He's got some balls though. He goes after his own fans.
I hate Philly.
Those are Philadelphia fans.
Like
Green Bay on the same page.
Green Bay, Philly.
Listen, you're mad because you guys gave up Saquon and it bit you in the ass.
I'm telling you right now, as much as I love the Giants, Saquon's rushing for about 800 times. That whole line. No, but it does suck though. Philly was like, they beat us in the playoffs.
You know what?
It stuck.
Wait, on the punt return?
No, we didn't make the playoffs here because of the punt.
Oh, because
one of my favorite moments of this,
I knew that by
season is completely off the football field, completely doesn't even pertain to individuals in the NFL. Is who's the GM of Giants?
Shane.
He's sitting in his office. His son's laying on his couch, throwing up the football. He's like, dude, just trade up to get Jaden Daniels. What are you doing?
I've always wanted to believe that's how people make deals.
Like,
their kid comes in and says, who would be really cool?
That's such a cool thing, too. We know how much fans, I knew they should have took him, and he got the GM's kids on his back.
Like, bro. And then his daughter's like, I don't even know who she wants, like JJ McCarthy or something. He's like, you're only saying that because you think he's good looking. Like, this is the most normal football conversation that I've ever seen in the
offseason with the Giants. That was very telling, though.
I'm still riding with Caleb Williams. That's beside the point.
We're done.
That's right.
We're back. Yeah, new coach.
Ben Johnson. I'm happy about Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. See, hey, we got some Bears fans here. All right.
You guys are very loyal people.
Yeah. So this is Sirianni's.
Some would say we're a glutton for punishment, Chris, but that's all right.
This is Sirianni's second trip.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You guys have all talked about the preparation, both of you, especially being in one.
Yeah.
Talked about the preparation. Zach, you know what that's like too. The preparation, and then you get to that game, the distractions. You get the week of probably normalcy. Then you get to the week of wherever the Super Bowl is. And I remember you telling me about the amount of ticket requests and everything.
Yeah.
It's just a freaking circus. It's one thing to be experiencing that for the first time. I'm going to ask you this because, we know the Eagles are doing this again under Nick Sirianni, but being not that far removed from it. It's not like that happened to Nick Sirianni 10 years ago. This was a couple of years. This was 2 years ago. So Nick Sirianni, you bring up his team loves him. The preparation, I know there's X's and O's, and all that is a big advantage to Kansas City. I get that. But as far as what these guys can now expect, and let's not forget, in a game that came down to the wire a couple of years back, where it looked like Philadelphia had it all but sealed until 15 gets another crack at it. How big of an advantage just for the Eagles side, and not even an advantage, but just how big of an impact for the Eagles and a lot of those guys being on that team a couple of years back. Huge. And then you just added some winners on there. How big is that?
Huge. I mean, listen, we've all done media. I'm telling you right now, 50% of the time we're talking to media, we're lying. No, we never talked about that. I mean, it just is the nature of trying to keep it.
What are we doing here?
Not here. He's talking about game plan wise.
Jesus Christ, guys, come on.
You got to say as much as you can to the media without saying
anything
more than you're supposed to.
Exactly.
I bring you guys on because you don't bullshit.
We're not here. But that's part of it. You got to protect the team. We'll never know where Nick was at that first run, but there's 100% who you have to come in and talk to your chapels.
Yeah.
I mean, like Coach Coughlin talked about, he had been there with Bill Parcells and just the things that he said, he was composed the whole time through meetings. I mean, it's going to be a big deal. I think that will play into it. Now, it doesn't help. They're playing a team that's been to
for the last 5 years. Yeah.
No,
it's an advantage for him.
Clearly,
Andy Reid books a hotel preseason where the Super Bowl's at. So but it will be it will.
They've got a sheet they go off.
Yeah, I have not heard anything about Sirianni's process or anything like that. I don't think necessarily last time they did anything wrong. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out and if he made any major changes. And none of us will know that until after.
Boy, I would think whatever they did, you wouldn't change much of it because it damn near.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they were.
I've never really even thought about this, but we practiced the second Super Bowl at the University of Indianapolis in their dome. And Coughlin was big about getting a good week of practice there. Well, he turned the heat up. And it was warm, and we got a good – I mean, something as minuscule as just getting us to get a good sweat and not take it easy, get more speed.
Do you get normalcy the week of? Do you get, even a workout of practice, do you get normalcy?
I mean, it's – you're going to the hotel.
Yeah.
Is it maybe just the hour and a half, 2 hours of – again, I don't even know how much practice time you're putting in that week because I feel like the hay's in the barn, but –
you do a lot of practice.
Is that what it is? Is it just practice and that's it? Once by the time you actually, or is that not even normal?
No, it's everything in between that's the crazy part.
Well, yeah,
practice is actually probably the most normal
freaking that is the night at the Super Bowl.
You gotta get on a bus and then you get to the hotel and your family's there. Practice is the most normal thing you can do during the Super Bowl.
6 hours of
Everything else is
meetings.
different.
Yeah,
I mean, practice is the best part.
Because your guys' Super Bowls were where?
Arizona and Indianapolis. So the first Super
You
Bowl
didn't really have places where it's like, look out.
But it's funny.
You weren't in New Orleans.
We were at the Cardinals facility, and Coughlin was like, "Don't leave anything behind."
Florida.
You know how Belichick is. He'll pay the janitor. It was but little stuff like that.
Yeah.
With a coach with experience, I don't think Andy Reid's filming the Eagles practice per se.
No.
But
I think it is.
No, the refs are doing it for him.
I think Sirianni, honestly, is in a much better place to take his team to.
I would think so. Yeah.
So what's the
biggest?
biggest?
So overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's beyond anything.
Is the World Cup final the biggest sporting event in the world?
Yeah,
probably.
It's got to be.
Super Bowl's second.
Yeah. I mean, if we're just throwing out, if we're just bullshitting out here, I would say.
So there's literally nothing.
You're talking to 4 diehard soccer fans.
Yeah, it's you can say like, man, we're gonna have a great week of preparation. We're doing good.
Yeah.
But your mom, you got 20 texts from your mom like, where are the tickets? You know, I mean, my mom didn't. But there's just nothing normal about it. You try to make it as normal as you can, and maybe that's a lesson Nick learned.
Yeah.
I mean, and the
Again, we won't go
NFL.
afterwards. Like if they do well and win, and you'll hear like there's one thing that they did, like they changed their
Yeah, I'll be curious about that.
You know, you hear about
So Strahan in ours, you
went
went with Strahan against Baltimore. Strahan, in our first one, we went out the first night we got to Arizona. We didn't go out the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So we did.
But that, again, like you get some leaders that, you know, we're a bunch of young dudes. They want to party, hang out, but there's just little stuff that you got to do that seems like not a big deal, like you're saying.
Okay, so if you want to put it in perspective, right? Every single game that you play up until the AFC or NFC Championship game follows the same kind of rhythm, right? You show up at the game, you're playing either home or away. You warm up, you go show up, you kick the ball off, you go into halftime, it's 12 minutes, you come back out.
Bro. Yeah.
The Super Bowl is the exact opposite, right? You go travel for a week, you deal with everything else, you go warm up, and then you got like 20 minutes to wait for the pregame concert. Play the first half, you have like 30 to 40 minutes for the halftime. And NFL halftimes are 12 minutes. Like it's a completely, totally different sensation playing a second half of Super Bowl, playing second half of the NFL game. Opposite. So you have
to re-warm
you have
up.
to have a plan for it, totally.
Yeah.
And you have to have a plan. Now the Chiefs have been there so many times, they're kind of not going to win out affected, but they've done well with it.
Sure.
Maybe Sirianni goes into next time and says, you know what, maybe let's handle this halftime differently. Because as a player, I remember you guys get in college, remember the half hour?
Oh God!
Then you go to the
Yeah.
first preseason game in the NFL. You go sit there and go, all right, what's going on, man? You got like a Gatorade, and it's like, all right, this, let's go.
Oh, that's what I love about the
What's
NFL.
going on?
It's amazing.
It
When
is.
you get to them, like, this is great.
The Super Bowl
God.
is totally different.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to deal with that. So maybe a coach and the players go to the second time, they have a better plan for that. So
How many
we'll see how that works out.
how many times you go to the
I
playoffs?
get like 5 minutes of Terry frickin' Bradshaw highlights and it's back to the game. Thank God. Thank God. I couldn't handle 15 minutes of Terry Bradshaw.
Playoffs in general, like are crazy, bro. Like
It had to happen.
there's not another
Hour and a half in.
and there's not another sport like baseball's got 7, basketball. Like the NFL, we lost in 2008 to the Eagles at home. It's like, oh, we're going home.
Yeah.
Like your season's just abruptly over. It's a totally different vibe. Like it just is. So if you got experience with that, it only helps.
Dude, I was trying to run these numbers on the World Cup versus Super Bowl. We're talking like
Our
and
crack
it's-
statistician, Zach Miller.
It's a quick little
I love it.
GPT or Google search. Like you're talking billions
Yeah.
of people
Yeah.
watch the World Cup,
Yep.
and you're talking like 180 million.
Only, but still, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And like
as much as
numbers
I'm
are
not a
different. Like
soccer
this
fan, I get it.
2018 World Cup is estimated like 3.5
Yeah.
to 4.5 billion people.
Watch.
Speaking of
Watch
Kansas
the
City,
World
get yourself to Arrowhead and watch a World Cup.
And you're talking.
We got to get Ronaldo on here. Roundtable, dude. You can talk about pressure.
Did we get a translator?
How freaking popular do you think this thing is? Jesus,
Yeah.
guys, come on.
It's gonna
Dave will make a call.
What is
Give
so? Speaking of the halftime, Kendrick Lamar, does that favor the Eagles?
They
or
screwed
the Chiefs
Weezy,
better?
man.
I mean,
I'm hating.
I ain't
is
mad at
Drake
you.
showing up?
They're
We gotta-
hating
we
on.
gotta-
Why? How
Drake
can
ain't
you have
We
Weezy
gotta-
on the New Orleans, man?
We got a diss track
Right?
too.
Oh, that's true.
They bad. So that's a whole Jay-Z Weezy beef, man.
Wow.
This goes in the.
Dave's from California.
So
He's
did
the rap game.
every now and then.
Yeah, I'm not-
Oakland
I'm
Dave
not
comes
gonna
to the
run
house.
it.
I love Oakland
I like-
Dave.
I don't even know what does that mean?
What, the diss track?
Weezy,
Nobody
baby.
knows.
Weezy. I'm like,
It's not an
I'm
upper respiratory
definitely
issue.
the
Lil
oldest
Wayne. What about Lil
I'm the
Wayne?
oldest guy here by far. 'Cause I'm like,
Little.
what?
So
It's like, well, I went to the doctor. They said I wasn't wheezing, but I don't know.
Kendrick's balling right now with that whole.
Oh, the diss
Drake
track,
thing.
buddy?
What do you mean Drake showing up? Does he want to get beat up?
Yes. You want to get like just uber huge numbers for the halftime show?
Drake's
You
staying
get
in
the Disney
Toronto,
and-
man.
Why don't they
Drake's
do
on
what they
tour
did-
right now.
why don't they did an 8 Mile? They can have a battle.
They did. Look what happened.
Yeah.
They got the Grammy singing A minor.
Good job.
And yeah. Oh, he's well versed. Let me tell you. I was wondering when that was going to come out, Dave. Thank you for that.
But Kendrick will be good. Cali Cat, he'll kill it.
Is there going to be a this whole crap about? Oh, you guys think Taylor Swift will make an appearance? No. You think
Dude,
that's the last thing she wants to do?
I love conspiracy theories.
Would you like to share?
With the Ravs and Taylor Swift dating Travis, you would get the Swift.
All of a sudden, Caitlin Clark's part of the Chiefs' kingdom too.
Just saying.
We can't forget about Patrick Mahomes' brother. It's kind of a zero.
They might not let him in.
They have minimized that.
This is why Patrick is a superstar. He knows when to keep proper distance from his.
It's been a while since we've seen anything significant about that.
That's a good thing for him.
But it should be a great halftime show.
It'd be good. I mean, I'm not a huge Kendrick fan.
Who'd you guys have?
It's not my thing. Like, if you could go, bro.
You didn't
sync.
Let's go.
In 2001.
Like, I love Kendrick and his craft and what he does, but like, I'm just not a huge. Like, I used to be a huge West Coast rap guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the LA one.
My favorite.
That was amazing.
I was just gonna say like that.
Yeah.
But like, that's our era.
It wasn't long enough.
I agree.
Dre,
When they came out to Still Dre, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
It
God.
wasn't even long enough.
I could have watched that.
Yeah.
Like, turn the game off. Who cares about it?
Let's let this thing
You
ride.
guys didn't like Shakira?
Who did we have?
I thought
he watched it on mute.
That's right. Well, I thought you said one of them you wanted to peek
watching
your head out and check it out.
Well, it's loud. You can hear it, but I don't know.
It wasn't Prince because that was the Bears Colts.
Oh, Prince was the best.
He actually sang Purple Rain.
I know Michael Jackson. MJ. I actually had a conversation with my son about Michael Jackson. He's like, how famous was he? I'm like, listen, bro. Michael Jackson was the most famous person on earth, and social media didn't exist.
Yeah, that is true.
And when you get on stage and just stand there for 2-3 minutes and everybody's cheering, girls are famed. Yeah. Michael Jackson, but like I don't know NSYNC, and that sounds like
that was you guys are wild, man.
Sound bad?
NSYNC and Britney Spears, man. That was a big deal in 2001.
I'm only 2 years younger than you, buddy. I think.
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
95.
I'm 97, buddy. I'm
yep.
right there with you.
Old.
We are. Hey, enjoy those kids at home. My kids are gone.
Old as you
right. Your life is back on the. This on the up and up.
You're as old as you feel. I feel.
I can't even imagine what that would be like. Not having terrorists in my house.
Oh God,
that's what I call my kids.
Oh,
that's why ISIS recruits kids. Man. They're easily converted to terrorists.
See, this is what happens when we've gone through 2 buckets of Cornhead Lager here. Apparently, big thank you to Kros Strain, by the way, too. We've got about 25 minutes too, and we do have some folks here in the crowd who join us. So if you guys do have any questions you want to ask them, feel free to write something down. We will ask it for you to these guys. I'm sure, not to me, but yeah. I can find something. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Thank you. See, it's always the Bears fans. We're so accommodating, Chris. What are you going to do when we're doing this thing in a year? We are special.
There's no Chiefs fans here, are there?
Yeah, you got one.
That's by default
because she is supporting her guy right here too.
Yeah,
that's cool.
What's going to happen when we're doing this again? And it's I can't say my Bears because Zach actually played for them, but I root for them. I've lived that life.
When
it's our Bears playing the Chiefs, and then we don't have to hear about the freaking 2017 draft anymore. Oh, you guys could have had Mahomes. We got Caleb.
Hey, I'll tell you this. I was watching a special that they had something on about Miss McCaskey.
Yeah.
And I think she said one of the coolest things for her as the owner was she gets to go out and she talks to Bears fans and do whatever. And anytime she communicates them, it's like, oh, we need to do this or we need to do that. And she loved that connection. It wasn't like, oh, hey, you got to do this. Mm-hmm. You got to do that as an owner or whatever. It's like we as a team. So
you lived it, and
us.
So your track record going from Jacksonville and then Tampa.
I was there for 8 months.
You were there for was that when the MRSA?
Yes, we had a MRSA.
Orange Times, bro. Times.
That's right.
He's a fan. It's us, bro.
No, because it was Greg Schiano.
Yeah, that was literally the worst.
It had nothing to do with
Lawrence almost died.
Yeah, remember? They put a pick line in the Lawrence.
Some guys that just should stay in college football. Greg Schiano's where he should be.
Yeah.
But that whole experience, because this was one of the coolest stories. This was back when I was at AM 590. I was my wife and I were out there because her family. It was like post Thanksgiving, and I wanted to do a show, not have to burn a day of vacation. And so I reached out to ESPN 1000. Like, oh yeah, you're one of our affiliates. You can use our studio. And so we went in to get set up in our little studio. I was doing a show there, and then the guys were like, I dropped your name. I said, yeah, I know Zach. We're going to go to the game on Sunday. We're watching Zach. And they're like, oh, Zach Miller? Like, oh, we love him. Everybody in Chicago loves him. I mean, the guy is awesome. And then the whole Miller time thing. And I was like, holy cow, man. And it was because you became a fan favorite. Obviously, you're very good, but you were extremely engaging with that. You did some radio shows as well. And all of a sudden, you had a sponsor with Miller Lite. And,
what's this about here, man? Like, we're all normal people, just go to play a game, and like when you got a great fan base and people that accept you and do whatever, like that's what this is about. Like let's be a let's be the Chicago Bears fan base, players, all that shit. And like it was super cool for me to go to that city.
I wish my name was like last name was Bush.
Yeah, right.
Like a Bush Light sponsorship. How cool would that have been? So another name.
I think us being small school guys too kind of helped us understanding like
you guys maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you guys always had really thick skin. Like if there was a lot of criticism towards the team or anything, you guys were cool with that, and I think that made you more endearing with the fans.
You're right too, but I know this is an open podcast. Mm-hmm. He gave us permission to say naughty words.
I did, yes. That's true. I just got to make sure.
And I cannot even
YouTube
repeat some of the things I heard in Giant Stadium. From this fan base.
Yeah.
Playing in the things that you were cultivating out in New York.
The Eagles are the worst.
Yeah.
I played the vet before you guys ever played at the vet.
The jail in the basement.
The drunk tank.
So this concrete floor is better than the turf they had at the vet. It was horrible. It was like the Oakland Stadium, the old Coliseum, but worse.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a drunk tank?
Yeah.
There's one in Chicago as well.
Is there?
It's kind of poxy.
I loved it though, man. Like playing in Philly was fun.
Oh, dude, that's part of the. That's part of.
But you talk about though, like. Obviously, we had dreams of to play football as long as we could. We all did, but we were fans. Like we weren't big time recruits, so like you really kind of understand, like
kind of appreciate it.
If these people didn't care like they did, we wouldn't even have had what we had. I mean, it really does. For me personally, it's like I think it's crazy when people know who I am still, and I'm sure it is for you. And you've done well after. It's like. Yeah, it's kind of cool, man. For sure.
We do have a couple questions, so but I want to ask you guys this here real quickly too. As far as this game, as now you guys have since retired, you've experienced whether it was a Super Bowl or some of the highest level games too, and hell, I just think even a Sunday night or Monday night game would just be amazing. You. Still, because Chris, I know you're Chiefs ambassador, so you're very much involved with the Kansas City Chiefs and a lot of things that they do too. But when you get away from it, are you more engaged, about the same, or less engaged with what's going on in the NFL? I'm not saying you guys are on message boards looking at all the things, but like how much is
the best thing about
life to you?
Here's the best thing about being an alumni, right? We're not fans,
right?
Right, so we're going to follow the Bears, the Giants, the Chiefs, Giants, our former teams.
I get a text every now and then, Dave, like, hey, I like what you guys did. I like what the
Bears
did.
We're still a part of the organization in its history. We're going to be happy when they win, and when they lose, we're still going to kind of be there. Yeah. I mean, but we don't have the highs and lows like fans do. Right. So our affiliation we have a literal affiliation with them. So we love a lot about them, but in a different way. Like we're not so tied to whether they're good or not. Right. And there's great things about when they're really good, like the Chiefs are now, or great things when they're really bad, like the Giants are right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're still just going to kind of support them because that's who they were a big part of our lives.
What's that like? What's that like not getting to ride in the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster of being a fan?
It's actually nice because fans are so riled up. If they're like, Chiefs are going to win, I'm like, don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I think- Zach checked me on Twitter not that long ago. I brought up Nagy and said something about the Santa Slayer. So you're like, hey, you be good to my boy. And I'm like, freaking Nagy. You're like, I love that.
Nagy's
dude.
a
I'm like,
stud,
come
dude.
on.
Like, you go back to our
different perspective.
like his time in Chicago, like his first year, he's coach of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That 2018 year was amazing.
Like, makes a run to the playoffs, double doink away from going to
Championship.
Freaking Cody Parkey.
and then the next year, it's like we got to get this dude out of town. Like, he's just
It happens that
like he's
fast.
terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you guys just forgot what he was a year ago.
Yeah, you're right. You're
And like
right.
this is the guy is he's an incredible person.
Yeah.
Incredible dude to be around, incredible leader, like gets it all. There's a reason why Andy Reid was like, hey bro, come back.
Yeah.
I got you. Like there's a reason for that. And like for everybody in Chicago, like, I hate him. Get him out of here. Listen, let's
Have a little patience,
look
man.
at what you had and then look what transpired after
Yeah.
and where we're at.
Well, it's
Yeah.
people business.
I'll stay
Yeah.
on
They
the fucking
forget
table
about
for
that.
that
They
guy.
forget about that. They feel like these are human beings. It's
Yeah.
like, give them another year. If things go bad, it's a really, really competitive
Yeah.
deal. If they're good people, they'll surround themselves with good people.
Well,
I'll
and-
stay on every table for
And you were in the toughest media market.
Yeah.
In New York, you could
30 people.
win by
every
30, and they're gonna be like, "What the hell? You win by 42? You moved? What the heck?"
But it was tough. You know, we went 8-8 one year. We thought we were all getting fired. You know, I could imagine now how bad they are. I think sometimes for me, outside looking in, obviously the relationships like you have with Nagy, Eli Manning tonight. We find out, right? Like, you know, if he doesn't get in first ballot, someone's getting jacked up.
This roundtable actually felt a very
But
good
these
night.
relationships, you and Jay, you know, you and Rich, a guy I played with, are still really close. Sean O'Hara was with you at the Remington. Like these personal relationships, it's kind of fun for me now because I don't think Linville Joseph, I think, is the only guy I played with that's still playing. But I look at it now as kind of this neat game of like seeing what's being portrayed on TV and kind of deciphering really what's going on.
Yeah.
Because like what we said, like you're trying to give as much information as a player without making anybody look bad.
I see the worst and worst, man.
Oh,
Like,
Matt Nagy is a terrible coach, and Zach's sitting here like, you guys are going to be sorry when you get rid of them. And the next thing you know, they're not good. It's like, as a player, as a guy that used to play, you know what's going on. So for me, when I watch this stuff, it's like, oh, you know, Stephen A is just getting ratings. And I'm no disrespect to him, but like, he doesn't know these people. These guys are good people that try to win games, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Stephen A on a presidential run here.
Oh,
in 4 years.
Oh, wow. It'd be amazing.
That's a different.
This is a question from the crowd here. So all three of you, this is for you guys. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
So man, I got a couple. Go ahead, Chris. I had a couple. It was different for me going from a Division II quarterback to playing in the NFL. Like I had to completely not relearn the game, but like my skill set was different. I used to go from practices where I didn't get touched and I had on a yellow jersey, and if you came within 2 feet of me, there was a whole thing. And now it's like I'm getting my ass whooped on a daily basis. I remember, gosh, I don't know who we were playing. I got knocked out like cold. I don't know what I'm doing on punt, and I got smoked. I got 2 of them. So I'm gonna tell you that one. And I come to the sideline, and Mike Tyson, my tight end coach at that moment, he's like, "Hey, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I'm fine." He's like, "Bro, you ain't give me your fucking helmet."
Mike Tyson.
Played tight end for a long time.
Yeah.
New York. He's like, "Give me your helmet."
Yeah.
Rips me out the game. I'm like, "Bro, I'm good. Like, we'll be all right." Then we played. We played Seattle Seahawks. Third game of my rookie year, and I'm sitting in special teams again. Like I haven't done this at all, and we're going through pregame introductions. That stadium's crazy. They're going through intros. Dude comes out. They announce his name. Don't know it. Rips his helmet off, and he's smacking his head with his own.
Owen Schmidt.
He's leaking
boy,
blood.
dude.
The fact that you knew exactly who that was.
He's running out the tunnel.
That's my boy.
Through smoke, leaking blood out of his face. I'm like,
West Virginia, baby.
We go out on the opening kickoff of the game. We're on kick return. I'm playing right wing, and I'm counting, and I got a block R3, and I look over and I'm like, oh, shit. I got this dude. And he hit me so hard.
Yeah.
That weekend, I got a call from Jake Peets. Jake Peets was a Nebraska guy, but was in our scouting stuff. And he reached out to my agent, and everybody else was like, "Yo, does Zach really want to play special teams?" I'm like, "Hell no, bro! I don't. Did you see this guy? No, I don't want none of that." So I had a couple, but those are some that stick out.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that. I just want to catch football.
Yeah. Thank God.
I remember I went to New York. The first one is I'm a kid from Omaha. I've been on a plane once in my life. It was to go to Northern Colorado.
Right.
That's the only time ever.
Beautiful.
We're going to New York City, and it's like, remember that old El Pace Condi commercial?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. New York.
And I go against minicamp against Michael Strahan, right? So I didn't have specific ones from that, but I remember my second year, first year I was practice squad, I kind of got bumped up, and then inactive or just not played much my first year. So we're playing against the Vikings in the Metrodome, the old Metrodome, which is like this. It was like a tent.
Oh, we remember how that tent came down with the snow.
The sound in there. And then there's guys in Harleys and motorcycles out there, and we're getting beat, and we're playing, and I'm like the backup swing tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the guys gets in we're losing, so over here's like a big brawl. So our right guard, right tackle, gets kicked out of the game. In there, it's a full court, and it's after a fight, everyone's going nuts. And I remember, and I can't even describe the feeling of complete and total silence because of how loud it was.
Yeah.
And I remember
I'm like, if you're talking, it's like I'm deaf. And I remember just like the first play, I just kind of sat back and hopefully they hit the quick. We landed for like 3 plays, but like. That was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. It was so loud that it was completely silent. Yeah. It's like you see on the war movies when like the guys get like shot.
Yeah, and then you almost have like that ringing where it just goes completely silent, but there's just
that was my welcome to the NFL. I'm like, oh, how the hell is Canadian survive like this? It blew me away.
Yeah. Mine was preseason special teams, man. I remember specifically, like Zach will tell you from his example, we didn't play special teams. You were a quarterback. I played Division II as well. You probably didn't either. We were some of the best players on the team. We didn't play. So like it was all new to me. But like Chris said earlier, like football's kind of like trigonometry angles and stuff like that. So we're playing the Bengals. We punt it. I'm on punting. I don't know anything. I'm boom, boom, boom. Block my dude. Take off. Pac-Man Jones catches. Pac-Man Jones catches it. And he's running up the sideline. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm like,
yeah.
I run at him. I got my angle, and I just run right behind him. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I gotta change the math here. This is not Northwest Series. I'm like, let me change the math here. Like I was in a 4.68. I was the slowest D9 on the team. You know, I mean, it's just everything's different in the league. They're all the best in the world at it. So yeah, that was kind of like, okay. This have to do it different.
This one's for Chris and Zach, and we kind of talked about this earlier too. I'm going to read it verbatim. How is it being a quote survivor of the last days of UNO football, and do you have hatred for Trev Alberts in your heart?
I'm going to say this.
You might be in College Station listening right now.
You get his wife. She's like,
So you mentioned the Hall of Fame. Like I was lucky enough to be inducted to the UNO Hall of Fame when they still had football. It was a while back here because I'm older. A couple years ago, I got inducted to the Nebraska Hall of Fame, which is down in Lincoln. It's the third Husker game I've been to. Anyway, the reception was like their big whatever concourse, and I was the only non-Husker guy getting inducted, and Trevor was still the AD. So I did get to kind of stun him a little bit, and my speech didn't go directly at him, but it made it known how I was a maverick in a sea of Huskers.
Did you throw a shoulder into him? Like how'd you stop him?
He tried to shake my hand, and I just didn't.
Good. You're like, good for you, Chris. You're not even that kind of guy. I'm happy. I'm proud of
you. Here's all I'll legitimately say about that. It's in the past. Zach and I would love to go back and watch UNO football. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I feel like it was sad. It was really sad. And I would love, I coach high school football now. There are so many high school football players who could be playing out at 60th and Dye Street, and we all get to watch them.
Yeah.
I wish they'd have it there, just like Zach and I. We'll see what happens. Hate isn't the right word, but a lot of discomfort. Let's say that much.
Okay.
Let's just say, I'm glad I don't have to go down to Lincoln when I go to like Husker camp with my prep guys or whatever and have to avoid traffic.
Fair enough.
I actually had a relationship with Trev when he got to UNL, right? So like, I mean, I remember sitting in Trev's office, like, and our conversations were, we're going to take the next step, and we're going to do what South Dakota's doing. We're going to do what North Dakota's doing currently, and our program would grow and be that. So I had hope for that, and you know, now we hold the Fuck Trev Alberts golf tournament every summer. Well, this is what it is.
You really think?
FBA.
Yeah.
You know, you took a lot from a lot of people.
Where do you guys have that golf tournament at? By the way?
It's at Tiburon.
Okay.
I've actually never had the luxury.
I went last year. Yeah, it's just fun.
What's the entry fee? No,
We'll get you some stuff.
truth be told, I totally I value what you guys say on this matter because it hit you in a different way. I've always had a good relationship with Trev, and I'll never say anything other than that. But I totally understand where you guys are coming from because you had something that was taken.
Isn't that Trev did this, right? Because at the end of the day, it was much bigger than that.
Yeah, and it's not like Trev single-handedly just.
You and I both had a personal relationship with him. I went to lunch with him the week before it happened. I used to go to Trev all the time. I was doing UNO radio. I was consulting with their coaches. Trev was right there in the trenches with us, and he sold us all out in that way. He did not handle that very well. I know it wasn't his decision, but he didn't.
But there was no honesty up front. Okay, listen, this is
kind of happening. He just goes to all of us.
See you later.
He did. That's what he did.
And I think that's where the problem lies with a lot of us. Is like, listen, you could have said, hey, this is on the table. This is where we're heading, or you know, is there anything we could even do to make it not be a thing? But you look now, like Chancellor Lee.
She's amazing. She's a rock star. She is great. Yeah. Adrian's awesome. Adrian's awesome.
And like, so the people that they have there now, that's where I'm like, hey, let's get it back. And I don't even know. It might have been the assistant chancellor or somebody who came up to me after I had mentioned that in my speech and like, hey, do you really think that this could survive? Do you think this could be successful? I'm like
it sounds like Zach and Chris are going to be in a committee.
Good. Like, this is it's not just a football. Lincoln's just not a football town. Like, there is a lot of good football in this entire state. Now, can we structure this in a way for it to go on and coincide with Lincoln? Yes.
This is all changed. This has happened.
All
this NIL stuff, it's a different
He was like, how are we going to fill the stadium? So, well, then when they go play an away game, we got to play a home game.
That's what we do. We
put
our stuff around their games.
Yeah, it has to be.
You have to
coincide together.
Well, and Dave, I think you brought it up too. Is Division II become that much more attractive, or at least that much more of a realistic destination because of the 105 man?
So the big issue was the walk-on stuff at UNL. Yeah. Now with the cap, that's awesome. Good on use that because there really might be some room for a 1AA program to operate, which I think, looking around football, high school football in the state of Nebraska, since I lived here, has never been a better place.
Dude, it's insane.
Incredible football players around here.
They are. They really are. We're not really like kind of Division I players.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's just not enough people to do that. And I'm just telling you, as a guy who came from OPS, went to Division II, you could fill the whole team with people in the state of Iowa and Nebraska that would be full UNL roster.
Look at South Dakota.
They do really well.
North Dakota, all those teams are local.
Taking all those kids up there.
Yeah. Half our, I mean, I don't know the numbers of them. If you go look at the roster of South Dakota State, North Dakota, North Dakota State, Wyoming, I guarantee you a chunk of them come from the state of Nebraska.
Sure. Yeah. Totally.
I'm down.
It is interesting times, and who knows, maybe that does lend itself to an avenue for.
This is the launch right here.
Could it be?
We're going to go viral. We're going to
send it to him. Chancellor Lee, we're going to send you this episode.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 beers. 15 beers, guys. That was impressive. My God. My God.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. All
I
right,
gotta go to the
so
bathroom.
we got
Yeah.
5 minutes left. We got it. We got to give our predictions here. So around the horn. I'll start because I'm the non-foot. I'm not the. I didn't used to play. This matchup's intriguing. A lot of the things that I talked about Philadelphia earlier. I think this is without question the best team that Kansas City's played in their run. Everything about what they can do when in control of the game, and there's something about between Saquon, Jalen Hurts, what they can do defensively, especially with their front seven. You guys bring up a lot of good points about what you have to do to Patrick Mahomes. It almost seems like an impossible task. There is something about the way Philadelphia, kind of like your New York Giant teams that got into the postseason and were just white hot, that you ride that momentum. Knocking off the champ is extremely difficult. History has not seen a 3-P2, so I'm going to stick with history. I'm taking Philadelphia to win 33-27. I think this thing is as good as advertised. I think Jalen Hurts, not Patrick Mahomes, gets the final drive, and they cash in.
Wow.
33-27, Philadelphia. So don't hit me.
Don't hit me, bro.
Don't hit me.
When the Chiefs win, that's
Yeah, you see that?
Oh, there it is.
Big deal.
I
I'm going to go totally opposite of what you said. I don't think Philly's that good.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think the NFC is as good as the AFC was.
I don't think
I love what they do. I love what they do. I think they're the third best team in the NFC. I think both the Lions and the Vikings were better. Now they fell
Lions
off.
had a
They got
great
hurt.
regular season, absolutely.
They did, but I also think that it'll be a really close half. I think they'll be losing at halftime, the Chiefs will, and I think they come out in the third quarter and I think they win by 10 points, 10, 11 points. I think 35-24. Chiefs win. I feel like we've had so many close Super Bowls.
Now,
I'll say this right now.
Blowout. We just know what they're doing.
60% chance. I think there's a 40% chance the Eagles did the exact opposite.
Man, you are hedging.
We got to play both sides of the fence here, man.
It can happen, but
You're not looking at this as such a big mismatch.
Someone's going to win the game.
The feeling I have is I think the Chiefs. I think the Eagles are as good as a team as the Chiefs have seen the last couple of weeks.
I agree with you. I think that you said the Eagles haven't, the Chiefs haven't played a team as good as the
in their Super Bowl, not this season, but in their Super Bowl run.
But I think what Chris is saying.
So that's I think the Chiefs won by 10, 11 points.
Yeah.
Okay. I got Chiefs by 10, 31-21.
31-21.
Solely off of all the things we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
The preparation with Coach Reed, with Nagy, with Spags, all the stuff that they've seen and done. I think that really, really matters.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know what Pat does and then how that kind of correlates with everybody around it. The number one factor was, I think, one of the first things we talked about was if Philly can run the football, because that changes a lot of things within the football game. It takes the opportunities away from Patrick and their offense, and it takes the ball away. It slows the game down. It shortens the game for Kansas City offensively. So I think that matters. If Philly can run the football, then they have a chance. If they don't, I think it's kind of what we've been used to, and that's Kansas City winning 31-21.
Three-peat.
Which I think a lot I are of seeing the success. Yeah. I'm the opposite. I've seen a
history,
couple.
Man.
Yeah, like why are like I was a Jordan fan.
Yeah.
Like I loved seeing that type of success and like watching it in real time.
Just being a killer, yeah. In that moment, being the killer.
Like, why can't we appreciate what they're doing? Like a lot of people are tired. I want to see somebody else. I actually kind of want to see that success carry on and see how long they can sustain greatness. So
we'd be witnessing history. So why not bring
on the heels of Tom Brady being the GOAT to have another guy come along?
Yeah, in our lifetime,
it's impossible.
Yeah, in our lifetime.
I mean, like the stage that he's at.
Yeah, it's impossible. Like that's what are we talking about here? Tom Brady's the best ever, and like 5 years later, like, oh, we got another guy. Like that doesn't happen. I think 31-28. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think it's going to be tied up late, 28-28. Philly just doesn't have the gas to finish it. If the Chiefs ball back.
Wow.
But
poetic justice.
Sounds awful lot like Kevin Butler from the Chicago Bulls.
So for you guys, I just wanted to win on a field goal.
You are a dick.
That's
Double points, but it goes in.
She's already had one of those before.
That's true. Man, you had those?
31-28. I think, man. I think the Eagles are going to just run out of gas. They're going to need to score.
As an
They're
old
gonna be able to
lineman,
run the ball, but they won't be able to throw it.
I'm so conflicted because I hate the Eagles because of the Giants connection, but I love what they do. I really do.
They
I love that they run the ball.
like,
I love that they run the ball.
The essence of like
yeah.
pure football guys,
Yeah.
like you really like what
Oh,
Philly
I love
does.
it.
Like,
I love it.
It's a good thing to see. It's methodical, and then
Yeah.
and then it can.
So it's just like being a really good
rebound.
rebounding team in basketball and someone can shoot a three.
Yeah.
That just beats you.
You're like, damn it.
Hope Sirianni knows overtime rules.
I would think after the Niners gaff by now,
Everybody
you
has to know.
I would hope that they
What are
were
the
all,
chances
they all
you
had
get
emergency
overtime? That was the
meetings.
first one ever. It's like, is it going to do it again? So,
Gentlemen.
MVP, Mahomes.
Oh yeah, MVP. Okay.
if they win, he's going to be. Yeah.
I'm going. Ooh, if I go against Saquon,
Andy Reid.
I'm going to say Jalen Hurts. I'll go Jalen Hurts. If I'm taking the Eagles, I'll say
MVP.
Everyone's kind of, you know what the big thing has been about whether Kelsey wins MVP? Like if you look at the Vegas
popular
odds,
one.
the Vegas odds are.
Yeah.
I love Travis,
I
but
would love him to. I think
No,
he'd have to have 3 touchdowns.
Trav
Yeah.
trips me out. He looks like somebody's dad out there playing football. Like it's a regular dude.
Yeah.
Like you somebody's dad out here just playing football.
We're talking dad bod. Let's talk about dad bod. Let's talk about 15. Let's talk about Pat Mahomes,
What's
man.
going on here?
If he's still younger, Travis
I know.
is still old now.
I know Patrick Mahomes doesn't have an excuse.
Yeah.
He should be.
That's for
He should
sure.
be looking a little bit more.
he
strong.
embraces it though.
Yeah,
It's not-
Yeah, that's that core. He's got that core.
I've never played football with a quarterback. Then now that I'm like thinking, it's just been like,
That is just
Cuddy could sling that shit.
Yeah, you don't want to look at it as a quarterback. You want to be able to sling it.
But it wasn't like he was popping out of.
he was.
Yeah.
Eli was.
You know who? You know
I
who
was
is?
not Jack. No chance.
in his quarter zips.
No chance, dude.
You know who is
Hey.
when he sucks? Will Levis. Will Levis is.
Dude.
I know.
Jalen's yoked.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Jalen
saying.
is.
To truly
Jalen's
throw the
pretty
ball,
good.
you can't be that muscular.
No, you
it's a
can't.
total like rotational thing. That stuff doesn't show up.
I mean, we look at
with the shirt
Peyton,
on.
look at
Yeah.
Tom.
If you didn't play
I
O-line,
was
you
Jack
would have
now,
been.
but like he wasn't what he's playing.
Couple
Not Jack. He's like looks good now.
If you didn't play O-line, you would have been more jacked up. You just fit the position. Yeah, you just play the position, man.
Guys, I can't thank you enough for being here. It was awesome to catch up
Yeah, thanks
and be with us. Big thank you to Kros Strain here in La Vista, and for my money, the best craft beer scene that we have here is right here at Kros Strain La Vista.
Yeah.
2 locations as well. Make sure you check them out. Also in the downtown area as well.
The best 3 Division II players.
Right?
Retired in the state of Nebraska.
But 3 Division II players that all had NFL glory.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Maybe we should bring that UNO program back.
There you go.
Yeah,
We'll lead it.
And guys,
Throwing it out there.
best of luck to all you guys. You guys
Thanks,
are.
buddy.
I love being able to catch up, find out what you're all doing, and
Absolutely.
man, you guys are. This is fun.
Appreciate you. Yes,
This is
sir.
fun. Thank you guys. Thanks for everyone attending too. We appreciate you all, and thank you for the questions. We'll have another Nick Handley show coming up, probably post Super Bowl, and be sure to subscribe to Husker Max on the YouTube page. Caleb Henry and myself will be back on Monday for a Husker Max show as well. So looking forward to that. Until then, enjoy the big game on Sunday. We will talk to you next time here on the Nick Handley podcast. Thank you.
I